Calm down. Welcome to Penguin Live, where we give you the freedom to sit back, relax, and if you feel like it, learn magic in your underwear. So, not you, Butch. Put your pants back on. What is wrong with you? You're gross. It's gross. Let me tell you just a little bit about who we have tonight. I've got a list. Check these out. First, won the gold medal at FISM in 1982. Voted twice Close-Up Magician of the Year. Voted twice Parlor Magician of the Year. He's known worldwide as the Magician's Magician. Voted twice Lecturer of the Year. Please help me welcome your guest tonight, our guest tonight, Lardy. Come on, guys. Oh, yeah, very funny. No. Oh, yeah. So funny, I forgot to laugh. Who got my notes out of order? I worked hard on this. Please help me welcome your host tonight. You know what? Screw it. Please help me welcome Daryl.
All right. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Wow. Man. That's a lot of pressure. But I feel good. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, one and all, for showing up. By the way, I think before I start, I should mention not only am I thrilled to be here, but everything in tonight's lecture is usable, practical magic. What's going on over here? What's the problem? Making trouble. Oh, dear.
It's probably my fault, Daryl.
Hey, pay no attention. Oh, dear. Oh, God.
Sorry.
All right. Well, that was my first gaffe. Oh, man. So I've got good, simple, practical magic that anybody and everybody can do. You too can fool your friends and be the life of the party. And I'd like to show you how. Hey, start off with nothing. I mean, really, come on. We know, right? Anybody can go to the magic shop. They could buy a tricky prop that does a tricky trick, and then they call themselves a tricky person. They get professional business cards. Magic. To me, this is the same thing as a musician who goes to the music store. He buys a player piano, he pushes the button, and then he gets business cards printed. Musician. It's like it doesn't really work that way. I think, rather than using tricky props, I prefer to think of myself as a magic minimalist. Huh? All right. What do the rest of you think? No, the idea is I try to extract the maximum amount of magical effect from the minimum amount of ordinary objects. With that said, see how I just kind of, with that said, to the untrained eye, this probably looks like just a piece of rope. But I prefer to see this as what I call the rope of mystery. Ooh, I know, that's how I felt first time I heard about it. Watch closely, every move a picture. All you have to do is take the ends. Now, I'm going to do this very slowly. I do not want you to believe it's the quickness of the hands that deceive the eyes. No, that's that other guy. I do this very slowly in a manner so as not to confuse. I just twirl the ends around each other, blow gently. That makes the ends very, very soft. Hey, I'm working here. How you doing? Makes the ends very easy to remove. Yeah, you are not laughing now, okay? All right then. Now I've got a piece of rope with no ends. But I'm no fool. I know where the ends are. Yeah, I got your ends. Right here. All I've got to do is squeeze like this, turn the inside to the outside, and of course vice versa. That puts everything back the way it was at the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, the rope of mystery. No, that's a different act. No. I hardly ever do that one anymore. Okay? This time I'll tie the ends together with a double knot. Yeah, a double knot, making sleight of hand impossible. Is anyone buying any of this? Yeah? Hey, look at this. All right, just want to see if you're paying attention. What this does is gives me a loop or a circle of rope. If I cut the rope any place, of course I would have two pieces. I don't have any scissors, but that's okay, because I am a professional. I can fake it. Whoa! No, thank you. Hop around the room and sound like a crowd. Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Normally what I do is I cut the rope exactly opposite from the tied ends. This way both lengths would be exactly identical. But as you can see this evening, I'm a little off. La, 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 la. So for you, I'll take the first end like this. I'll put the second end where the first end used to be, then I say the magic words. Con cuerdos cuadradas por llenos de recetas imigración. The ropes go back to the original condition. Ladies and gentlemen, the rope of mystery. Oh, baby. Wow. Now here's a little something you can all go home and try. Well, yeah, you could try it. It's not going to work. But you could try it. Just get a piece of rope. Any length will do. Fold the rope in half. If you do that, the ends will be together on one side, but opposite the ends will be the middle. Thank you, and good night. Thank you very much. Now, how much would you pay for a rope trick like this? Wait, don't answer yet, because there's more. I'm going to make the ends change places with the middle. There are two ways to do this. That's not my preferred technique. Watch closely, one end at a time. The first one, I will pass it through the hollow core of the rope. It lands on the other side like this. Now you can make up your own jokes here. Now for lack of technical variation, I will repeat the illusion. Watch closely. The next end goes through the hollow core once again to this side. Now I've got the ends of the rope where the middle used to be. The middle is where the ends used to be, which in itself is quite a feat. Although I seem to be the only one who thinks so, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you right now, we got ourselves a rope of mystery. Can I hear a hallelujah on that, brothers and sisters? That's right. That's right, my friends. You got to praise the cord. Some of these I do just for myself. Now, usually when I do this, after the thunderous applause finally subsides, there's usually someone from this general area here who seems to think this is a piece of phony, fake magician's tricky rope. To those people, I simply say, ha! I laugh on you. This is not phony, fake magician's tricky rope. No, it is not. I got that stuff right here. This is ordinary rope. In fact, you can check this out yourself. Just take a look at that. Pull on it. Make sure it doesn't stretch or shrink. It's ordinary rope, the kind you can buy from any magic store. Yes. Now this stuff, I can't let you see this. This is special. Well, here, you can look at a little piece here. Just check that out. And really pull on it. Make sure it doesn't stretch. It doesn't shrink. It's good, strong, solid rope. Now, if you know the secret of the magic rope, but only if you know the secret, you can take a piece of rope like this, tie a knot in the middle like that. You can take that knot and squeeze it. That creates the illusion that the knot disappears. Actually, the knot does not disappear. No, it's still there. It's just that it's very, very small. And it's hiding on the inside. Now, you can't see it, but you can feel it right there. There's a bump. But rather than take the time to let everybody feel my bump, what I'll do instead is give it a little shake like this. That reforms the knot from the inside out. Ladies and gentlemen, another satisfied customer right over here. What the hell going to say myself? What the hell going to say myself? Yeah, you might want to check that out. Who among you has the big one? That would be you, sir. Have you examined it yourself?
Oh, yes.
And would you say, in your own professional opinion, that that's an ordinary piece of rope?
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it yourself. Would you please toss that rope to me, if you'll be so kind, on the count of 3? That's okay, I'll get it. Oh. A good, strong, solid piece of rope. How about the little piece? Is that okay? Little piece? Okay. 1, 2, 3? Huh? Okay. Please, by the way, notice that these ropes are different lengths. I know, normally I don't have to mention this, but sometimes I perform this mystery for a crowd that has been drinking. Sometimes the audience does not notice. I might as well tell you now, if you do not notice the fact that they are different lengths to begin with, what I'm about to show you would be even more pointless. 2 different lengths. In fact, all 3 are different lengths. May I? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Just like we practiced. 3 different sized pieces of rope. What to do? What to do? Hey, here's a novel idea. I will create the illusion that these different sized pieces of rope are actually identical in length. Now to do that, I just gather the opposite ends of the long piece, the middle-sized piece, and the short piece, and then I say the magic words. Stretcho, stretcho, stretcho. I wrote that myself. The ropes will magically, mysteriously, and therefore entertainingly, ladies and gentlemen, stretch and stretch until they all become identical in length. Hallelujah. That's right. Oh, baby. Cut the hell the dang dog deal. Now, do you remember just a few short moments ago when these ropes were 3 different lengths? Were you here then? I want you to see, I am not messing around. This is rope number 1, but I want you to see for yourself. It's a solid piece of rope. It does not stretch or shrink, except now rope number 1 is exactly the same length as rope number 2, which, by the way, also does not stretch or shrink. And rope number 2 is exactly the same length as rope number 3. It's a very convincing illusion and not a bad false count. Now, oh, wait. This time I'll tell you what. Sometimes people think I'm using that phony sleight of hand stuff, you know. No, I am not. I will be doing the phony sleight of hand stuff later. Right now, to prove there is no sleight of hand involved, I will tie the ropes together with double knots, making sleight of hand impossible. You're really watching, aren't you? Dang, dogger, you haven't blinked once. I'll tie these ends together as well. All 3 ropes are the same length, all tied together with secure double knots. All I have to do now is say the secret magic words, shrinko, shrinko, shrinko. And even though the ropes are securely tied together with double knots, they change back to their 3 completely different original lengths. Now, I don't expect you to take my word for it. You might want to double check this puppy out yourself. Make sure it does not stretch or shrink, not to be confused with the middle-sized piece of rope. That'd be for yourself right over here, sir. And the long piece, ladies and gentlemen, this is the mystery of the stretching ropes of India. Here's a little something for you, sir. Right there. Holy cow, we're going to say it right here. Woo, doggy. Well, okay. Poof. So, there it is. What do you want to do now? Have you seen this one? Oh. No, I do the real way. Whoa, look at that. Boy, I learned that from my high school woodshop teacher. Sometimes I do a little something with the playing cards. I happen to have a pack of playing cards. How convenient. I would like you to see for yourself. They're all here. They're all different. They're well mixed. Okay, fine. What? What? Oh, I know. That was a bit fast. So for you, I will weave the corners of the cards together. By the way, this is known as the weave shuffle. Now I can make what we call in the magic biz the jumbo double fan. Ooh. See, now twice as many people can see twice as many cards in only half the time. And what a lovely photo opportunity. Or not. Now, I'd like to have a card selected in the fairest possible way. Now, the reason I say that, there are some magicians, and I'm not at liberty to mention any names, but they know who they are. They spread the cards out. They say, pick a card, any card, but then they try to make you take the one they want you to pick. See, I don't do that anymore. No. I instead ask you, sir, to name any card in the entire deck. You have an unrestricted choice.
8 of hearts.
8 of hearts, one of my personal favorites as well. I'm going to go through the deck very slowly and very fairly. I want you to see that in this pack, somewhere in this shuffled deck, there is indeed the card you freely named, the 8 of hearts. Thank you very much. So that's not, it gets better. That's just the beginning. More importantly, I want you to see that's the only 8 of hearts. Because tomorrow when you talk about this, and you will, I want you to remember there was only one 8 of hearts in the deck. And I didn't sneak it to the bottom. I did not manipulate it up to the top or next to the top. It's in the middle. But if I want your card, the 8 of hearts, all I have to do is snap my fingers like this, and it'll jump to the top all by itself. See, that's the mystery. Now, if you missed it, I'll do this again. Very slowly, the 8 of hearts goes into the middle. That's about halfway down. It stays in the middle until I do one simple thing. Snap the fingers. Wherever it is, it jumps up to the top position. Now, you could try this yourself. Take the 8 of hearts, put it in the middle of the deck. As soon as it goes in, what happens is it jumps right back up to the top of the pack, and it works every single time. Now, usually I do this, people say, oh, you probably have extra 8s of hearts. No. In fact, just to make this one even more special, would you take a moment, please, and put your initials or your signature in big, bold letters across the face of the 8 of hearts. Even if I had a duplicate, it wouldn't have your signature. I'll take the pen back first. Why? Anyone?
That's how you done it.
That's right, that's right. And how do you know it's a felt pen? Because I just felt it. Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Robert Orban, 1962. Let me have your card. Oh, that's perfect. Now look, there's only one card like this. with the identifying initials. It goes into the pack about halfway down. It stays in the middle until I do the move. The move's a snap of the finger, then it jumps up to the top. Now, to make it even easier to follow, watch this very closely. I push the card forward so we cannot lose track of that card. I won't cover it with the entire deck. I'll just cover it with a few cards like this. I'll push it in the middle. It will jump from the middle of the deck up to the very top of the pack, cleverly disguising itself on the way. No, technically speaking, this is not the top. This is the top of the bottom half. The top of the entire deck would be down here. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the dang dogging deal on that guy right there? I don't know. What you gonna do? I realize that this is pretty tough to watch because it's a full deck of 52 cards. Let me get rid of half the deck. I will repeat the illusion with just half the packet, making it twice as difficult for me. There's the 8 of hearts. May I come to you for just a moment? I'd like you to take this 8 of hearts in your very own hand and just hold on to it face down. That's good, thank you. And as I riffle through the cards, just say stop. I will stop. Wherever you say, I'll let you put the card in yourself. Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
I know. That's all right, I'll try it anyway. Now make sure your initials don't rub off, so make sure, feel that. On the other side, feel it. Make sure it doesn't rub off. Turn the card over, rub it with your fingers, the initials come off?
They do not.
They do not, good. Just call out stop.
Stop.
Face down, just like we practiced, that's good. Now watch, I do nothing. And yet, I do it well. I love the Spanish magicians. The Spanish magicians, they are so passionate. Rojo, 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 negro, negro. Your card is lost in the deck. It's not on the bottom. I didn't sneak it up to the top. It stays in the middle until I simply snap my fingers. Then it jumps up all by itself. Now you can go home. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too. Let's just give it up. I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you do everything. Watch closely. It really does go in the middle. That's about halfway down. As soon as it goes in, it comes up to the top. And it works every single time. Now, would you cut off about half the deck yourself? Just lift off about half the packet. You cover up the 8 of hearts yourself. You take all the cards in your own hands, and you snap your fingers. That was good. Will you turn over the top card, let everybody see? If it worked, bow to your thunderous applause. Ladies and gentlemen, holy hallelujah. Hey, that was a good job. Just don't tell anybody how you do it, okay? We keep that part a secret. You know what? Even half the deck, that's too many cards. That's too confusing. Let me make this a little bit easier to follow. I will eliminate a few more cards. I'll eliminate these. Now, truly, this is as few as I can use and still be able to place your card into the middle of the deck. It's a very thin deck, I'll be the first to admit it, but it does go in the middle of the pack until I snap the fingers, then of course it jumps up to the top. Now do this again. There's the 8 of hearts, your card with the identifying initials. It goes in the middle of the deck. Very thin deck, but it goes in the middle until I snap, then it jumps to the top. Now sometimes I make this even more difficult for myself. I put the card not in the middle, no, on the bottom. Much more difficult. It's got to go through 2 cards, but it still works. In fact, may I come to you? Put your hand out like a little table, nice and flat. That's perfect. Watch your card, the 8 of hearts. It goes face down onto your hand. I'll cover with these cards. I'll even spread them out. Just by snapping the fingers, your card jumps from the bottom, through the middle, up to the very top. And it works every single time. Oh, good job. Well, you know what? There's only 2 ways that this can be done, really. Does anybody have a long piece of rope I could borrow? Did you bring one from home? May I borrow that for just a moment? Just toss that to me on the count of... There's really only 2 ways that this could be done, or 2 categories of methods. One is it could be a trick. Maybe beforehand I had you initial a duplicate 8 of hearts. Now we know that's not true, but there might be some suspicious people. So just for fun, I would like to have this passed around to various members of the gathered multitude for initialing as well. Would you put your initials on that and then pass it down? Would you do the same thing? Pass it to someone behind you? We'll get 20 or 30 people to put their initials or their signatures or their lucky number, Visa number, anything on the face of that card. Another way this could be done is maybe there's sleight of hand involved. Yeah, what if there was sleight of hand? Like palming or something. Yeah, I'm not going to make sure. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap up the entire deck with a piece of rope, making sleight of hand absolutely impossible. Now, I know this is impossible because I've tried. Many have tried, and several have been seriously injured in the attempt. It cannot be done. So I'm tying the deck like this. The card has been signed. Where's the card now? In fact, may I have the pen back and the card? Oh, and just for fun, I have an idea. Oh, my eye. Turn the card face down. Yeah. And initial here, would you put a mark on the back side near one end, like maybe the upper end? Some kind of a crazy mark would be good. Now think about this. The card's marked on the front by what, 10 or 20 people. It's been marked on the back. Oh, a little love heart. Isn't that the sweetest little thing you've ever seen? And look at that. There's no way to have a duplicate of this card. But I know some people are suspicious. So would you mind doing me, tear off a corner? That's proof. There's just no way. Tear off a corner and keep it as a gift. That's good. That's real good. All right, watch very closely. There's the card initialed by many of your own kind. And marked on the back, the corner's torn off. There's no way to cheat. Now watch closely. It does go in the middle of the deck. That's about the middle. Now it doesn't have to be exactly the middle, but that's pretty darn close, wouldn't you say? That's the middle of the deck. It truly goes in. I do nothing. It's going, oh, not yet. Oh. I know, I like to milk it for all it's worth. Look, all I have to do is snap my fingers. And look. There seems to be a very special card on the top of the deck. If I pull it up just a little bit, you can see, oh, there's a mark on the back, there's marks on the front. In fact, there's many marks on the front. And if you'll check it out, make sure that corner fits, and does it indeed? Ladies and gentlemen, that's a little something we call the ambitious card for your entertainment pleasure. Oh, baby. Thanks for your help. And this is a free gift for you. Now, I realize there's a fine line between souvenir gifts and trash. But if it's all the same to you, we'll stay on the souvenir gift side, shall we? That'll be good. Well, now it's time to explain how some of this stuff is done. And just so that I don't forget anything, I've taken the liberty of making some notes. Oh, this is good. What do you think? You think we should start with the ambitious card? Why not? Let's do that. As long as the stuff is out. There's so many ways to do this trick, it's not even funny. Someday somebody should write a book or a DVD and call it the Ambitious Card Omnibus or something. This is a gimmick. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay. Nice thing about the Ambitious Card is you can make the routine as short or as long as you want. Sometimes I'll do it 3 or 4 times and I do the bend or something and that's the end of it. Other times, when I'm having more fun, you can play with it a little bit more and lengthen the routine. Now for this trick, all you need is a piece of rope and a regular old deck of cards. And for the big finish, but only for the finish where you wrap the deck with rope, that uses something special. It's a gaff. What it is half a deck thick. So they're not even glued together. It's even better than that. The holes were drilled through them, and they were sewn together with thread. So this way they have a little bit of give to it, and that's a nice thing. I tape the card like this and like this. So what it is every card, imagine this. Imagine you have about 25 cards. If you cut them straight in half, that will make a straight line through them. But you don't cut it straight in half. What you do is you cut it not at an angle. You bend the cards first, so the cards are beveled like this. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, because it's really so ridiculously time-consuming to make it yourself. You'd be better off buying a professional one by one who deals in professional magic quality props. I have a few left. Oh, no. Here's what happens, is each card is cut about a 64th of an inch shorter than the card next to it. So if you stack them all up, it creates sort of a diagonal tunnel or a little trough through the deck. Now, putting the card face up, you can see exactly what happens. There's a corner short card in there, and so that I know I'm at the right spot, I put a little black dot. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little black Sharpie mark. So what happens is the card goes in at that spot, and like I say, you can stop there easily because of the corner short. When it goes into the deck, it looks like it's going straight in, but it's going through that little tunnel, and it's automatically coming right up to the top. So it's easy to go from the middle to the top. It just goes through the center. So this gimmick, half the deck thick, goes into your left coat pocket. You're going to switch it in way early. You're going to be so far ahead it's not even funny. So first thing you do is you have a card selected or named. I usually have somebody name a card. And my justification for going through the deck is to show that there's only one of that particular card. Let's say you pick the Queen of Hearts, one of my personal favorites. I would go through very slowly and fairly, let the audience see. Now that's close. That's the Queen of Clubs. But we're looking for, let's do the Queen of Spades? Queen of Spades is good. That's one of my personal favorites. Beautiful card. So you go through until you find whatever card they named. And hopefully it'll be somewhere near the middle of the deck. If it's not, don't worry about it. But you find it, And as you show that's the only one, you have a reason to continue to the pack. You take that one card, in this case the Queen of Spades, you cover it with the last card from the spread here, the Five of Spades, and secretly underneath your fingertips pull the Queen of Spades, the card they named, underneath the spread. This is called like a cull. And then you continue to show there's no extra Queens of Spades until you get to the last two cards. I like to show those and put them on the bottom. So what that does is the Queen of Spades has been culled to the bottom. When you add these to the bottom, the Queen of Spades, the chosen card, is now third from the top. That's where I want it to be, third from the top. Now, everything in the whole routine is basically double lifts and then setting up for another double lift. So if you learn how to do a double lift, you can do this whole routine. If you don't have a method already, I'd love to show you my favorite double lift method. It was by Larry Jennings, and it's called the Larry Jennings Snap Double. Snap Double. You don't have to use this method, but this is surefire. There are some other versions where you have to maybe hopefully get to just by touching, like the instantaneous double. If it doesn't work, it looks really bad to miss and have to go back and, oops, I got three, I better drop one. Snap double works every single time. Here's what you do. Hold the deck in your hand, like dealing position. It helps considerably if the cards are beveled a little bit, because what you're going to do is thumb count. Now, thumb counting is really nothing more than riffling the corners, like riffling through the pages of a book. If you've ever taken a telephone book, for those of you who remember what that is, and you flip through it, you're thumb counting, basically. Well, with the deck held in your hand, you thumb count 1, 2. I just let two cards go by. Here's a little tip. If you thumb count, do not get into the habit of putting your index finger under the pack. I could be standing clear across a hotel lobby at a magic convention, and if I see a magician holding the deck like this, and then go from here to here, I know he's about to thumb count cards, because that's the tell. So you don't do that. Just bend them downwards a little bit. Thumb count 2. Roll the thumb. That causes those two cards to buckle at the front end, because the middle finger's here, so it prevents them from getting pushed over. The index fingertip goes into that buckle. You move your thumb to a spot right above the index finger and push down. As soon as you push down here, you move these three fingers out of the way, and you get that. So that's why it's called the snap double, because if you do it properly, you get a nice crisp snap. Music to my ears. It's one of my favorite parts in the lecture, when there's a bunch of people in the audience all practicing it, and at the same time you all hear this, nice. So now that's a good, solid double edge, okay? You grab it by the sides, turn them face up together, and I like to out-jog them, like this. That way the index finger can square them up on the pack. If you press down on this out-jogged edge, the inner corner will go up as you square it onto the deck. Now, good thing about this is now the card is squared up on the pack, so nobody's going to see anything. In other words, if you have a double lift and it's out-jogged, somebody from the side might see that it's 2 cards thick. But if you square it up with the deck, there's nothing to see, and the only separation is right at the little fingertip, and it's pretty small. So that's how you do it over, and that's how you turn it face down. So at regular speed, you've got the deck, thumb count 2, roll, buckle, snap, kick, jog, square up, break, snap it face down. But that's a double lift, and it always works. So for this trick, remember, you started off by controlling the card third from the top. I show that it's not on the bottom or next to the bottom. It's not on the top or next to the top. And as I'm showing that, I get a 1-card break. So that's a good way to get a break. So then I add these back. Right now, the chosen card's third from the top. You snap your fingers, you do 1 triple lift. There's only 1 triple lift in the entire routine. Do it once, do it at the beginning, get it out of the way. You never have to do another triple. But a triple gets you 2 steps ahead, so that's a good thing. So everything else is going to be just double lifts. Now watch closely. You turn the triple face down, put it in the middle, snap your fingers, you do a double. So it was a triple. I got rid of 1 X card, so now you do a double, and it looks like it comes to the top. Once again, you turn it face down, you put the single X card into the deck again, you show it's back on top. Now I have the card signed. So you do it a couple times without its card being signed, but now that it's signed, you take it back and you do a little move called the tilt. Now it looks like you're placing it in the middle of the deck. So from the front, it looks like it's going about in the center of the deck. But actually, from the side view, what you did was you took this top card and you got a little finger break, like that. This is the illusion of depth. So you pretend to put it in the middle. In fact, here's a nice little touch, just to kick out a few cards so they stick out at the front end, and then put this here. So don't do it from the side view. Make sure they see it from this angle. And it looks like it's going in the middle of the deck. All you do is you do your snap and your double lift, and it's back on top. Now this is called the double lift build-up. This is another way of getting a step ahead. You turn the double face down. You see I'll put it in from the front, but this time from the front end, so you can show it's definitely going in the middle. You say, if I do not snap my fingers, the card does not come up to the top. Now that was a double lift. So I'm hiding the fact that it is on top with a double lift. I say it won't even go next to the top because it's in the middle. That's the single card, that's the double card. The single card goes under the double card, flip everything face down. That puts the ambitious card second position again, which means if you snap your fingers and do the double lift, it looks like it's back on top. So there's so many ways to get another step ahead. Eventually, you do this. Here's the switch, how you get the gimmick into play. You turn the double face down, you out jog or up jog the top card, which is the indifferent card. You say, I won't cover it with all of these cards. You pull out about 3/4 of the cards from underneath. Remember, the ambitious card is actually here on the top. You say, I cover it up with just a few. So you pull out about 3/4. You put about 1/4 of the pack or 1/3 of the pack from the bottom to there. The chosen card is actually here. You put those off to the side. You say, I push it in, I snap my finger, it jumps to the top of the deck, cleverly disguising itself on the way. And that's good for a yuck. And remember, my friends, yucks are bucks. Okay. Now, that's good misdirection, though. See, this is what we're going for, the misdirection. I say it's on the top of the deck. Well, that's not the top. That's the top of the bottom half. The top of the deck is over here. Very strong misdirection. As soon as you turn that card over, everybody's going to be looking there. That's what you want. Here's the switch. Normally what I do is I take the deck out of the box, quite honestly, and I put the box in my right coat pocket. I didn't do it this time because I forgot because I was having so much fun. It's better to have it in your pocket because the misdirection for the switch is this. This is half the deck, face down. The gimmick is in your pocket, face down. I say, over there. Everybody looks over there. I want to put these away because I'm not going to use them for a while. I'm going to put them in the card box, but I don't remember what pocket has the card box, so this hand goes here, and you go like this. This is a good position. Big space in here. As soon as you reach into the pocket, these are like scissors. That's what Roberto Giobbi calls it. In fact, he has a whole book on deck switches. It's great. If you want to learn about deck switches, get the Roberto Giobbi book. It's got probably 30 different methods, with or without coats, sitting, standing, surrounded, every method. So you put this away, looking for the deck. You leave the regular half deck behind. You clip the gimmick between those first two fingers. And then you find this. You put the gimmick into the box, and you leave that on the table. So now the gimmick is there, but you're not going to use it for a few more minutes, so you're way ahead. Now you do the half deck sequence. Now this is for my own amusement. I love doing this. Somebody on the left side, I do a fake move, like a fake top change, and I act suspicious, and I hand it to them face down, sort of guiltily. They're dying to look at it. And most people are too polite. They say, well, I want to look, but I don't want to mess up his trick, so most people don't look. So then I say, well, make sure the initials don't rub off. So I want to make sure that they know. But that's just kind of a little fun thing to do. So I say, you're going to call out stop, I'll stop, let you put it in yourself. Does that sound fair? Then you look at it, you find out the initials do not rub off. Then I do what is called the bluff pass. You say stop, right there, halfway into the packet. All you do is you pick up one card. Instead of the whole half packet, you pick up one single card. This is why I do this for somebody on the left. See, if you do it for somebody on the right, and you only pick up one card, everybody can see it's a single card. If you do the same move for somebody on the left, say stop, your body covers it, your hand covers it, they can't tell. So you put your card in, face down. This is representing about 10 or 15 cards. So don't just drop it. If you just drop it, it might go whoosh, 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 whoosh. That ruins the illusion. So what I do is I say put it in. I actually bring the hands together and pick up a few and dribble them. All in one action. Say stop, put it in. Okay, that's about halfway down. I do nothing. It really looks like you've done nothing. Once again, if you don't feel like thumb counting, you want to get a 2-card break, show it's not on the bottom, show it's not on the top, and in showing it's not on the top, you're pushing over the next new top card, so when you square up, that's a 2-card break. Snap, it's back on the top. So you could do this over and over again, so many different ways. Eventually, you want to let the spectator do everything. Here's a fun thing. Turn the double face down, put it in from the back, and as soon as you push it in, the fingers push that top card forward. So it looks like it almost goes straight through, and it turns over. I like this position, this one-handed turnover, so it's out-jogged, the index finger just flips it like that. This is why. I say back on the top again, I do a top change as I reach over and say cut off half. Top change, for those of you who have never tried it, it's truly nothing more than the hand holding the deck pushes over the top card. This card is going to be switched out. From this angle, it looks like this. You're just switching them. Let me do it face down. It looks a little easier to see. You push this over, and you switch them. I mean, that's all the top change is. But the misdirection is pretty good because you just did this thing. You said boom, boom, boom. It comes back up to the top. And then you go to this person. You say, would you lift off a small group of cards? The spectator takes a group of cards. The spectator puts it in. The spectator covers it. The spectator takes the pack. The spectator snaps their finger. The spectator turns it over. It looks like everything happened in the spectator's hand. And this is a good thing. Now you're ready to do the 3-card sequence. You say, well, to make it a little easier to follow, let me eliminate a few more cards. So I look at this card. Whatever the ambitious card is, I try to find 2 very good contrasting cards. Since that's a black court card, I'd like to use red number cards. So now there's only 3 cards. The rest of the deck goes into the box underneath the gimmick. So the gimmick is still on top in the box. Now the 3-card sequence is easy. It goes in the middle. Well, if it's in the middle of a 3-card packet, technically it's second from the top. So you square it up, you do a double lift, which is really easy with 3 cards. All you have to do is take the bottom card with your little finger and pull it away. That's called the pinky pull down. So if you pull 1 card away from the bottom of a packet of 3, you're left with 2 cards. So that looks like it rises to the top. Do the same thing again. Turn it down. Now it's the indifferent card that goes in, because remember that was a double. You snap your fingers, it looks like it jumps back up to the top. Now you say, to make it more difficult, I'll put it on the bottom of the packet. So here's what you do. You put a double onto the bottom. So that actually puts the card in the middle. Snap your fingers, and it's back on top again. This last part is the most fun. You have the spectator put their hand out on the table, or just out. You turn the double face down. You lay it in the spectator's palm. These 2 are squared up, so you say, and I'll even cover with these. In fact, I'll even spread them out. Don't spread them until after they're face down. And do that. So leaving everything spread. They know it's on the bottom. You snap your finger. Apparently it passes from the bottom through the middle to the top. And that's a clean sequence. Now from here, you're ready for the big finish. You've already got your gimmick in play. You get your rope back if you're doing a rope trick, or just pull out from your pockets. Here's what you do. You have this card signed by many more people. The more people, the merrier. It's actually pretty fun to have it signed by 10 or 15 people. While that's being done, here's the gimmick. This is the end where you stick the card in. So there's a little card that's about 2/3 of the length here. I just cover that line first with a rope. And then you can take all the time you want to wrap it, as many times as you want. In fact, you can use a smaller piece of rope, or you can wrap it 2 or 3 rope thicknesses thick, and you tie a knot. All the rope does is it hides that little tunnel from the side view. So this deck, half of the deck has got a tunnel in it, the other half is regular. It looks like there's no way you could cheat. Make sure, here's a hot tip. Make sure you put it in at the right end. Only one end has got the corner short. So if you wanted to, sometimes I won't put it exactly in the middle. I'll have it offsided a little bit. So one end is bigger than the other end. That doesn't matter. But you can look at it and you can see that there's a little ridge. So that's where the short corner is. Riffle to that. I double check by looking for that black spot, so I know I've got the right spot. If you don't put it in the right spot, it's not going to go through the tunnel. So that's important. It goes in, but once it's in, this is great. You are completely finished with all the dirty work. And from the audience's point of view, it looks like you have done absolutely nothing. They see their cards signed on the front, signed on the back. One more tip. If you tear off the corner, and if you have them sign the back of the card, have them do it at one end, and it's the signed end that goes in first, because it's going to be the signed end that comes out first. So put the signed end or the torn corner end in first. Push it in. Now you can push it in like this, but as soon as you see it start to peak, here, and I could see it, but I hope you can't see it. If you keep the deck tilted down, they'll see it actually arrive, and you don't want that. So just turn it like this, push it in with your hand, do this, snap your fingers, turn it around. They will see the initials or the signature on the back. They'll see the torn corner. Now you pull it out a little bit, and you say, take a look, is that it? And that's the end of the entire gold medal winning routine for your entertainment pleasure this evening. Oh, man. I have to sit down. Oh, that was hard work. Am I overacting? Oh, even my little daughter, she said, Dad, you are overacting. I know, because I am an actor. All right, now it's time for some fun. That's the hard part. That's the most difficult thing in the whole routine. And really, it's just a double lift. If you learn how to do a good double lift, you can do that anytime, any place. How about something with no moves? Oh, yeah. All right, here's a trick with no moves. And 100%, oh, wait, let me set it up. No. It doesn't even use the whole deck. I'll tell you, this uses only a small number of cards. In fact, I've prearranged them on purpose. Watch very closely. The 4 jacks, these are not ordinary jacks. I prefer to call these the jumping jacks, the jack of diamonds, the jack of clubs, the jack of hearts, and my personal favorite, the jack of spades. Now, in addition to the 4 jacks, I've got a bunch of red number cards. I've prearranged these. The reason I use red number cards is because they're a very good contrast to the jacks. And there's going to be 3 for each. That's why exactly 12 altogether. These 3 go onto the jack of spades, and to make sure there's no cheat, would you mind coming up and helping me for just a moment? I'm going to turn that face down. I'm going to ask you to put this packet somewhere maybe in your pocket. That would be great. That pocket there would be perfect. Excellent. Thank you for helping. What's your name?
Jim.
Jim, my name is Daryl. Thank you for volunteering. Army style. Yes, sir. Come on up here. I'm going to put 3 cards here on this jack, 3 cards on this jack as well, and 3 here. So far, so what?
Okay.
Now, if I was to do stuff, you might think I'm doing stuff. I do nothing. I'm going to let you do everything.
Okay.
You're going to do the magic. Are you nervous?
Sure.
It's okay. I'm here to help you. I'm a professional. Take the top card of this packet, turn it face up, and scoop up the rest of the cards. And then square them up, turn them over, the whole packet over, and put them down on the table. That was perfect. Do the same thing. Take the top card, turn it face up, scoop up the rest. No, wait, okay. Let's try it again. Take that top card by itself, scoop up. Yeah, you got this. The scooping that does it. Square them up. That was good. Nice scooping, by the way. Now, here's the most important part. Wave your hand, your right hand, mysteriously over the face-down packets. Nice. Oh, that was a good touch. And now pass it mysteriously over your pocket. The mystery is complete. That's it. Give those cards a little bit of a spread, if you don't mind. Each packet has 4 cards. Spread, spread, spread. Turn that face-down card face up. Holy cow. Turn that one face up. Holy smokes, what's the dang dog deal here? Turn that face up. Where, oh, where could those jumping jacks be? You, sir, if that is indeed your real name, reach in your pocket, pull them out, spread them out, let everybody see. Ladies and gentlemen, the mystery of the jumping jacks. Thank you for your help. How about another warm round of applause for Jim? That's right. Woo, dog. Does anybody recognize this trick? It was $100. And this was way back in the old days, like in the 30s. Mac McDonald used to do this. It's a wonderful version of the assembly. I've added a few things which I'm going to share with you in the explanation to make it even nicer. The thing is the jacks are ordinary. Most of them. Some of them are what we like to call special. These are double-faced cards. And I love using jacks, not only because I call them jumping jacks, but it's a good contrast to use the red in different cards. So first, let me tell you the entire setup, and then I'll show you a couple of extra touches. On the opposite side of the double-faced cards, there are red indifferent cards. Those 3 red indifferent cards, in this case the 9 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, are placed on top of the pack. So those 3 are here, all right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 extra red number cards. They're valued 5 and higher, between 5 and 10. Here's the setup. These 3 jacks, diamonds, clubs, and hearts, the regular jack of spades goes with the 3 gimmicks, and those are on the face of this packet of red indifferent cards. And on the bottom are the other 3 regular jacks. So there's that, there's that. Don't forget, these 3 cards on the face of the entire deck match the opposite sides of the double-faced cards. And I put an ace of spades there just to block that off, so I know when I'm getting close to the stack. That's the setup. You could do the trick exactly as we did in the demonstration, where you lay them out, but you let the spectator make the jacks vanish, and you let the spectator find them in the pocket. Or you can add some extra niceties, which I'll show you now. So you start off like this. Pull the deck out of the box, leave the box on the table, spread through the pack till you see that ace of spades, cut that so it's at the bottom of the packet, put these cards in your right coat pocket. Right coat pocket. All right. Now you show the jacks. Now don't forget, 3 of these are double-faced cards. 1 is a regular jack, the jack of spades. But if you square them up and say a quick little mystery with the jack of diamonds, nobody's going to say, hey, how come that jack of diamonds has a red back? You don't have to do this frustration count if you don't want to, but it doesn't hurt. So it looks like they're just 4 jacks, but these 3 are double-faced. Now, I say, in addition to the jacks, I have a bunch of red number cards. When I say a bunch, I don't say how many, I just say a bunch. I take 3, 3 more, and then I push over 2 more. If you go any further, it looks very bad. So do not even do that. But when I spread these, I in-jog this one, Okay? Now, square them up, turn the whole packet face down. What was in jugged, you lift up on it, and you get a little break. So what that gives you is it gives you a break at 6 cards. So once again, 4 jacks and a bunch of red number cards. That's 3 more. You do this, in jug that one, square them up, turn them over, lift up on it. Now, you don't have to do this. This is all bonus material. If you don't feel some of these shows are necessary, please feel free to leave them out. But if you can do it, and if you can do it deceptively, absolutely keep it in. So here's what I do. I say each of the cards, the jack of spades, I'm going to place 3 extra cards on top. You do put 3 extra cards on top, but you lie. When you turn them over, you take 1, 2, on the count of 3, you take all the cards above the break. So that's going to be a total of 6 cards altogether. So 1, 2, on 3, they're squared up, turn them face up, hold a little finger break. What you really have is the 3 face cards are red number cards, followed by 3 jacks, the regular jacks. But because they're squared up and there's a little finger break, it looks like just 3 cards. You turn everything face down, and you deal the top 3 cards, which are real jacks. They go on the jack of spades. Right now, the cards have assembled. These could go on a spectator's seat. They can go in their pocket. The trick's already done. Now, I turn this packet over. It's just me. You know what? I just don't want to show the exact same cards a second time immediately. You know what I mean? If somebody happens to be a bridge player or blackjack and they notice the card, I don't want to show the same cards again. So I put the first 3 cards apparently there. Get rid of that, so that takes a little bit of time. I do the roll and turn the whole packet face up. Now I show 3 more cards, which I place face down here. 3 more cards, which I place face down here. So a lot of time has passed before they see the same 3 cards again. Here. Now, because those are double-faced cards, they're going to be very easy to vanish. Lots of ways to vanish them. If you want to do what I did in the presentation, you just have the spectator take a card, turn it face up, scoop up the cards, square them up, turn them over, and put them down. What that does is it gives you this position. It looks like the jack changed. You can do that. I mean, I do this a lot. I just say, here, take the cards, scoop them up, turn them over, put them down. Scoop them up, turn them over, put them down. If you know any sleight of hand methods, there are many ways to make the aces or the jacks vanish in the $100 routine. One more little tip, and this is a bonus tip. Well, actually, it's in the instructions, but it's a good thing to know. If you spread these out, you still have a little more time. Even at this point, everybody's going to assume the face-down cards are the jacks. From this point, you can have the spectator wave their hand mysteriously and over their pocket. And then you can turn this face up, this face up, this face up, and you can have the spectator reach into their pocket, pull out the jacks. That's the end of the trick. If you want to finish clean, does anybody here want to finish clean?
Yeah.
Oh, just you. Okay, well, we'll talk later. Oh, okay, yeah, now you do. Here's how to finish clean. No, because I like to finish clean. Here's a wonderful way to finish clean. You pick up these cards, and these cards, right? And you do a very nice variation of the Olram subtlety. Olram subtlety, which is Marlowe's spelled backwards, just a little extra bit of business. The gimmicks cards will be, they're all 4 apart. I mean, you don't have to know this, but if you pick them up properly the way I showed you, they will be 4 apart. Here's what you do. You take the top card here, you turn this entire packet face down to show the back of the whole stack. As you turn this over, you do this and you put them down like this. This is a double-faced card. The audience has not seen the back of that card, but if you do this at regular speed, it looks like this. And then you do the same thing again. You push this over and this over, and you do that. So that's the double-faced card. Watch this. You do that every single time. There's a 7, there's a 9, there's a 6, there's a 10. Over here, there's an 8, there's a 9, there's a 5, there's a 10. It looks very convincing as if you're showing the front and backs. But more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, is you have now put the 3 double-faced cards together in one packet, which means on the offbeat, you're just picking these up. You say, reach into your pocket. Well, you yourself pull out the cards, hold them up high, let everybody see. As I picked up these groups, the last group, which is the gimmicks, you get a little finger break there, and everybody's looking at the spectator, pulling out the cards. That's the climax of the trick. And while we're doing that, watch how you unload those gimmicks. You just reach into your pocket as if you're looking for the deck and you forgot what pocket it's in. You get rid of the gimmicks above your finger break. These are in this pocket. You just put these on top of the face of the packet, and that adds these cards to those 3 other indifferent cards. And right now, all the jacks are in the spectator's hand. If they look over here, they'll see 12 indifferent red cards on the face of the packet, and your gimmicks are long gone. So that's a handling for the $100 assembly. I hope you like it. All right. Are there any questions? By the way, I love answering questions. I love it. Oh, I love it. I do. It makes me feel important. Or not, I guess. I mean, no, if you don't have any, I guess, I can't force it. All right, let me get an ordinary Himber envelope. I'll be right back. Oh, yeah, ordinary Himber envelope. Watch very closely. Oh, it's getting hot in here. I think I'll take my coat off. See, now that I've already done the deck switch, I don't need my coat anymore. All right, this is not my layman patter, by the way. Oh, Martha, did you hear that? An empty envelope. Empty envelope, empty hands. I will seal this. And would you do me a small favor, stand up for just a moment? And I'm going to put this on your seat. I'd like you to sit upon it. That way I couldn't get to it even if I wanted to. So I'm going to have a card selected from the pack in the fairest possible way. Would you pick a card for me? And here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to make a big fan the way those professional magicians do it like that. I'm going to take a... Oh, wait, was this got double-faced cards in it? Oh, dear. Let me get rid of those. We don't need any double-faced cards for this trick. By the way, this is also my layman patter. Oh, this ought to be a very good variation. No gaffs. So, a gaffless deck, thoroughly shuffled. And what I'm going to do is make a fan, and I'm going to take a joker, and I'm going to go like this. Anytime you'd like, just call out the word stop. Wherever you say stop, that's where the joker will go face up, at that exact spot. Then I want you to remember the card that's on your side of that joker. So in this case, if you said stop here, you'd remember the ace of hearts. Okay? But where you say stop, of course, is entirely up to you. Are you ready?
I am.
Oh, the pressure. And I'll even close my eyes and turn my head.
Stop.
Oh dear. I hope it works. All right, take a look at the card that's next to the joker. Can you see it all right? I'll show it to a few other people here. I won't look. All right? And we'll leave it sticking. In fact, shuffle the deck yourself. That way, in case you think I counted, I don't have any idea how far a card is in there somewhere. And believe it or not, while the deck is in your hand, I'm going to attempt the impossible. I will make the card that you merely looked at vanish from the deck. It will fly through the air invisibly, and it will land in an as-of-yet undisclosed place. It's done. I love it. It is done. The magic is done. The card you looked at, you didn't take it out, you didn't write it down, you didn't whisper, you just looked at it. It's gone. But I need to prove this. What was the name of your card?
Ten of spades.
Ten of spades. Would you look through the deck yourself? And when you find the ten of spades, hold it up high, let everybody see. Conversely, if it's not there, when you get to the end of the pack, say it has vanished completely.
It has vanished completely.
Nice reading. That was great. Once again, for lack of fancy pattern, where, oh where could that card be? Would you please stand up? Beneath you there will be an envelope. I'll take the deck. Feel the envelope. Do you feel anything inside?
I do.
Is it perhaps a playing cardular type object?
That is a possibility.
Hold it up to the light. Do you see the silhouette of a playing cardular type object?
I do.
Nothing in my hands, nothing up my sleeves. One card was merely thought of with your mind, and with your mind alone. And your card was what?
Ten of spades.
Ladies and gentlemen, is he man or beast? Wow! I can say no more. I can say no more. This is great fun to do because it is so easy, it's embarrassing. So easy, it's embarrassing. First, you need a special envelope. And I'll show you how to do it. I've been doing magic for more than 50 years, and I never, ever, until a few years ago, took the time to make a double envelope. And that's all you need is a double envelope. Here's how you make a double envelope. You get a regular envelope, and you get this. Well, actually, you start with two regular envelopes, all right? And you get a razor blade and a steel edge or a paper cutter, and you trim as close as you can to the two side edges and the bottom edge, and you take away this piece. So what you're left with is that. Okay? Then you take this and you place it inside of a matching envelope, like that. And if you cut it right at the edge, it's going to be great. It's going to fit in just perfectly. And before you seal it, this part's important. Before you seal anything, decide on what your force card's going to be, in this case the ten of spades, and you place that between the two back panels of the two envelopes. Then, if you lick the gummed edge of the real envelope, you can stick that onto the back of that phony piece that you put inside. So that will hold it together. So it really looks like a completely empty envelope. You can close it. You can seal it. The spectator can sit on it. I don't hand this to the spectator because they would feel it. I say, stand up, you drop it in the spectator seat, you have them sit on it. So there's no chance they're going to feel it. Now, the question remains, how do you force the card and vanish the card from the deck while the pack is in the spectator's hand? That is a good question. Here's what you do. These jokers look pretty ordinary, pretty innocent, pretty standard, but one of them is a tricky joker. And it's not that one, it's this one. Oh, what a great idea. Lubor Fiedler from Austria, he came up with this. That's why it's called the Fiedler Flyer. It was my friend Rich Murata from New York. He was the one that told me you can use the Fiedler Flyer gimmick not only to force a card, because it's in the Tarbell course under the name Surefire Force, because it's a surefire force. But better, not only do you force the card, but you can make that card vanish from the deck while the spectator's holding the pack. And that is a good thing. So here's what you do. I always have it on the back of a joker. I have the extra joker behind it. And I always have that on the face of the deck. Whenever I pull the cards out of the pack, I just casually show these and put it off to the side. You don't use it. So do whatever tricks you want to do. When you're ready to do the Fiedler Flyer trick, you say, okay, at this point, there's an empty envelope. You seal it closed, you let the spectator sit on it. That part's done. Here's how you force the card, and there's a little subtlety. You see, I'm going to make a fan the way those professional magicians do. I'm going to take a card face up. Anytime you want to say stop, wherever you say stop, that card will go in at that exact location. Then I want you to remember the card on your side of that card. Now, I want you to remember this card. So what I'm going to do is take the card below the joker, square it up so that it's almost squared with the joker. See how close they are? You don't want them to be spread like this, but pretty close. And then say, in this case, you would remember the 10 of spades, or the 10 of clubs. You want whatever card happens to be there to completely cover the 10 of spades part of the gimmick. Okay? So in this case, it would have been the 10 of clubs. Now you pull this out, now you make the fan. So that's just a little subtlety to show that no matter where they put it in, it's going to be next to a card. And the card you show them in the example is different from the card they're going to get when you force it. So the second time they say stop, spread through them again. This time you just make sure you spread it a little more than halfway. And you say, look at the card. Now that to me looks, well, how does that look? Doesn't it look like the card is right next to the 10 of spades? Be careful though. Make sure that after they look at the card, you turn the card's face downwards before you pull it out. Right? I mean, what if you did this? Okay, don't forget your card. Okay, fine. No, and then put that over there. Big mistake. So you force the card, you get rid of it casually. That means nothing. Immediately hand the deck to the spectator. They shuffle, they cut, they do everything. And you know what? One of the rules of magic says never tell the audience in advance what the effect is going to be, right? You want the element of surprise in your favor. Well, I say, if you've already done the dirty work, you've already finished with the method, absolutely tell them exactly what the effect is going to be. That's even stronger. Because you're done. At this point, you force the card, you've already got the card in there, you've gotten rid of the gimmicks, you're done. But if you say to the spectator, I'm going to make the card that you looked at vanish while you're holding the deck, in their mind, okay, well, I'm going to hold it tightly. Or I'm going to watch really closely. Well, it's too late now. So that's good. You can milk it. So you go through the deck, you find out the card that you looked at is no longer there. You show your hands are empty. I let you get up. I let you feel the envelope first. And you feel the card inside. I say, hold it up to the light. You can see the outline. Then I take it back. Do not let the spectator open it. Hey, what's this extra flap doing in there? So you take it back. Show your hands unmistakably empty first. That's important. Certainly don't say, and hand me the envelope. So you're clean, and you tear it open, pull it out, and that's the end of a no-palm version for the card to the envelope called the Fiedler Flyer. By Lubor Fiedler. Lubor Fiedler. Woo, doggy. Well, yeah. Oh, a question. Yes, sir. How may I serve you?
Is that a specially printed card, or can you make one yourself?
Well, you can, but if you're a true professional and you appreciate quality magic, I would get, you feel that, just feel that. I mean, that's factory printed. That's U.S. playing card company stuff. That's good.
So
And
the question, just in case they didn't hear at home, is,
No.
is that a printed card?
yes,
or
it is a
it
printed card. Yes, it is a printed card. Sometimes when I'm feeling extra gutsy, I will hand the card to the spectator and let them stick it in. If you glue it on and you hand it to them and they feel that on the bottom, that's no good. So that's one of the advantages of having it factory printed. So you can do it either way.
Now,
Great question.
If you do that close up,
Oh, absolutely.
is it obvious that it's printed on the back? Or?
No! No, I mean, it looks... May I come over to you and tell you?
Absolutely.
Because see, you spread through them. I mean, it looks like
Oh, yeah. No.
they just
good.
placed it
That's good.
next to the card. Okay? All right, well, I have one more card trick, and then it will be time to move on into the non-card section of this particular lecture tonight. Okay, for this I need another Himber envelope. You might want to, you can examine this one. You can actually examine it. Beautifully made. That one was made in Austria. Very nice work, I'll tell you, man. They know how to make Himber envelopes. They don't muck about. How's that look to you? Excellent. And I need to have a card selected. Would you do that for me? I'll give you the entire deck. This way I cannot influence your choice. In fact, if it were any more fair, you'd be cheating me. And some things just are not done. So, have you got one? Oh, take it out. Yeah, take it out. And does that look okay to you? Yes, so it's an ordinary envelope, one freely selected card. I'll take the deck back. Hold your card up high, let everybody see what it is. Show it to the fine folks at home. Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. What a way to make a living. Hey, how you doing? Now, have your card back anywhere in the deck. Oh, this is going to be tough. No, you can push it in all the way. I'm a professional, but I appreciate your help, though. Thank you. So, here's the deal. Card lost in the deck. You examine the envelope. I do nothing except shuffle, just in case you think I counted and I know where your card is. I will shuffle them, so now even I don't know where it is. No, huh? I don't want you to forget your card. Whatever you do. Don't say it out loud, of course, but just in your mind think, 8 of spades, 8 of spades, 8 of spades. Okay. That's important. Nothing worse than getting to the end and having you say, oh, was I supposed to remember it? Big mistake. So here's the deal. I'm going to put the deck into the envelope, but first I want you to see I did not manipulate your card to the top or near the top. I did not sneak it down to the bottom or near the bottom. Whatever card you looked at, it's lost somewhere in the middle of the pack, and I will do absolutely nothing. Nothing. All right. Now this is the best part. I'm going to make an impromptu roulette. Remember that? Roulette. Something you buy at the magic store. Oh, it's a card roulette. Here's the impromptu roulette. You just put it in the envelope, you tear off the top like this, and I brought a pencil with me for this very reason. Watch closely. It goes in like this, and I need your help. If you will tell me the name of your card will appear in an entertaining fashion. What was your card?
8 of spades.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What are the odds? 8 of spades? I command you to rise. 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 One card rises from the center of the pack. Not just any card. No way, Jose. In fact, here's a nice way to finish this. If you tear the envelope away from the pack, you hand this out as a free souvenir. Now you spread through the deck. One card has truly risen from the center of the pack. It is indeed the 8 of spades. And as always, how do you walk away? You walk away clean, man. I'm clean. You got to walk away clean. Nothing. Yeah, thanks for taking out the work. You got to walk away clean. I mean, I know I say this a lot, but to me it's important. I mean, really. Come on, let's say you're doing a show and your first trick is the vanish of 8 silver dollars at the tips of your fingers. That's 6, that's 7, and there goes number 8. Thank you. Thank you and good night. Thank you very much. And it's your first trick. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Open the door. That's just not a good way to finish. It's always nice to finish clean. It's nice if you can say, sure, you can look at everything. Now, that's not to say every time you do a trick, you should hand everything out for examination. That's a waste of time. It's anticlimactic. But it's good to know that you can. I mean, it's a nice feeling. If you can't hand something out and somebody says, may I see that? And you have to say, no, it's magic. Maybe once, but if you have to say that every single time, it gets weak pretty fast. So for this trick, you really truly need an ordinary envelope. Nothing special about the envelope. It could be the extra long envelopes. It could be this cheap. I get these at the dollar store. Like a box of 100 for like $1. So they're only about 2 or 3 cents each. I mean, it's very reasonable. You need to control the chosen card to the top of the deck. Now let's get a nice card. I like a court card, like the King of Spades. Here's the control I use. You can use any control you want. It makes no difference. But I love this control by Paul Lipol. It's called an automatic jog control. The good news is you do not have to learn the pressure fan. You do not have to learn the one-handed closure. I didn't know this at the time. I spent a lot of time learning those things. And then I was doing research for the Encyclopedia of Card Sleights, and I came across the same technique in Greater Magic, and it says, oh, just make a fan with 2 hands and use 2 hands to close it. It still works. So I just saved you a lot of time. What the secret is you squeeze the deck. When you make the fan, you squeeze it. So I'm holding it pretty darn tightly, but try not to let it show on your face. The spectator puts their card in, and because you're squeezing it pretty tightly, it can't go in all the way. But usually they leave it sticking out, and I make a little joke out of it. But here's what happens. When you pretend to push it in, it's not in all the way. It's hard to tell, but right now it's outjogged about ½ an inch. What's outjogged there will be injogged when you close the fan. It's now injogged, and just with a very gentle shake, if you look closely, you can see that injogged card. It's right there. And it doesn't even need to be this much. It could be considerably less than that. It could be a fraction. Oh, what a man. But you know what? No, this is good. If you do the in-jog, put the deck down, which I think is a lovely touch. As soon as the spectator puts it in the middle of the deck, you push it in, you close up the fan, you put the deck down. If the card was signed, this is a great moment to take the pen back, put the cap on, put it away, roll up your sleeves. If you put the deck down on the table with the card in-jogged, which I highly recommend you do, remember to pick the deck up by the sides, not the ends. Because if you pick it up by the ends, your thumb will push the in-jogged card in. You just messed up. So pick it up by the sides. And like I said, it doesn't have to be much because you don't need to see it. That's more than I need. You just have to feel it. Even with your eyes closed, it's just a little ridge. You lift up with your thumb, you can feel it. It's going to be at the bottom of the upper packet when you lift up on it. Okay? Now I get a finger break and I riffle to the break and I look at it. I want to see what that card is. So I know your card is the King of Spades in this case. If you don't look at it that way, here's another way. The card's controlled to the bottom at this point, but you don't know what it is. You haven't peeked at it. So you can use what they call the jinx. It's the Hindu shuffle peek. You Hindu shuffle the cards. You want to get it from the bottom to the top. As you're taking little packets like this, about halfway into the shuffle, they're getting a little messy. So you just square them up and you keep going. And that's when you look at it. So now I know. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
It was on the bottom, and you do this, and you just kind of look at it, and you keep going. So now I know the card's on the top of the deck, and I know what it is. The next thing you need to do is to put it in the middle, but you have to bridge the entire deck downwards first. If you know how to do a pressure fan or a spring, anything that does this right here. Or if you don't do that, just bend them. That does it too. Then you cut half of the deck from the top to the bottom, bridging those cards in the opposite direction. And now you have this Derek Dingle open sesame thing. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Open sesame, ho baby. And that's how you find the card. So for this trick, you don't do the open sesame, but you get in that same position. So you're here. Now this is a nice touch. You can show that the card has not been manipulated to the top or near the top. It's not on the bottom or near the bottom. I know exactly where it is. It's right where those two halves meet. So I would say to the spectator, so your card must be somewhere in the middle. I want them to see it as I go by, because then they see that I've done absolutely nothing to it. It truly is in the middle. And it looks very fair. When you want to find it, you just squeeze it and it opens to the right spot. So that's what happens. The envelope is ordinary, the deck is ordinary, the pencil, however, is gimmicked. This is a gimmicked pencil made specifically for the rising card in the envelope trick. Unfortunately, these pencils are very, very hard to find. And when you find them, if you're lucky enough, they're very, very expensive. Very expensive. But I do have a few left at my dealer's table. Or you can make it yourself. Just get a rubber band, wrap it. It's a joke. It's a joke. Wrap a rubber band around the middle of the pencil. That's the gimmick. Now that rubber band is going to act like a rubber wheel. When the deck is in the envelope and you open it at the right spot, that's where the pencil goes in. That rubber wheel, when you turn the pencil, in this case counterclockwise, will cause the chosen card to rise. That's all there is to it. So remember, this is in your pocket. They don't know about that. You put the deck into the envelope. Seal the envelope closed, like this. And now, once it's sealed, you square it up at the bottom, and you tear off the top part. Okay? So that's why you can use an extra long envelope. It doesn't matter. You're going to tear it off anyway. When you squeeze it, it opens up at that right spot, but they don't know. They can't see it because of the envelope. Here's another little tip. When you stab the side of the deck with a pencil, don't stab it in the middle, halfway down from the top or halfway up from the bottom. Stab it about 1/3 of the way down from the top, about 2/3 of the way up from the bottom. You want this to be bottom heavy. If it's top heavy, it will topple over, the cards will spill out. It's no good. Heavier on the bottom. Now, if you just turn the pencil counterclockwise, that causes the card to rise. But it looks more mysterious, I think, if you just rock it back and forth. and I command you to rise. If you really want to milk it, get a linking ring and go, oh, look. Or not. I mean, it's your call. But now here's a little thing. If you have 3 cards selected and all 3 are controlled to the top, that's the first one. As soon as you pull that out, you're ready for the next one. Same thing, turn the pencil counterclockwise. That will cause card number 2 to rise. And for the big finish, oh, here's the big finish. For the 3rd card, do not continue to turn the pencil counterclockwise. Turn it the opposite way, turn it clockwise. That will cause the rubber band to cause the bottom card of the upper packet to go up. This will not be the 3rd selection. And the 3rd spectator will tell you immediately, no, that's not my card. You say, oh, well, what was your card? As soon as they tell you, now you turn it the proper way, counterclockwise. That will cause that card to go down, this card to go up. You get a nice little change. And once again, does anybody remember how you walk away? Anyone? That's right, you'll walk away clean. That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Woo-wee! All she wrote. All right. Okay, well, oh, hey, let's do some rope magic. What do you say? Oh, yeah, eh? Oh, yeah. I love rope magic, eh? Now for this, I need a few pieces of rope. One happens to be wrapped around my ambitious card gaffus. Does anybody have a small piece about, oh, say that long? Oh, that's good. Anyone else? Oh, that would be perfect. Here's a little tip. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. Most of it's pretty standard, but the length of the ropes are important. Any size set Professor's Nightmare will work, but I like to use the long piece is the arm span. So that's the long piece. The short piece will be as far as you can reach. The tip of the little finger to the tip of the thumb. That will be the short piece. And for those of you who know the secret of this trick, if you loop the little one around the big one, that will determine your middle-sized piece length. So that's how you do it. Now the setup is you take the long one. This is from George Sands. He's got rope stational, he's got sensational, he's got a lot of great rope tricks. Oh, see, I do it without even explaining it. You fold the long one in half again, in half again. So that would be, I guess, eighths. Pull one end downwards, and then take the little piece and tie it around with an overhand knot. That just holds this together as a bundle. This is the setup for the rope stational. I like to have everything all together, so I just, for my own amusement, I will take the middle-sized piece, fold it in half, and tie it around the middle of that bundle. So now all 3 pieces are together. This 10-minute rope act is ready to go. And it can get mixed up with all your other props. When you're ready, you just pull this out. I unbundle the middle-sized piece, put it someplace on the left, and now you're ready to start the trick. In unbundling this, you just turn your palm up hand, you grab with your little finger and ring finger. The end that was pulled down. The reason for pulling it down is so you don't have to fumble through and find one of the real ends instead of one of the ends of the short piece. That's the end that's pulled in, that's the one you grab. The other fingers and thumb untie the little piece, and you hold one end of that little piece next to the one end of the big piece, let everything else fall. So that's a pretty quick way to unbundle the rope. It looks like just one piece. Now, this happened to me one time in New York. I was just getting into it. Hey, yeah, good, strong, solid piece of rope. And I just got carried away and I went boop, like that. So I hadn't even started the routine yet and already I messed up. But it was New York, so it was okay. Because I said, because I said, tannins. And I just kept going and, it's just okay, just keep moving. So here's the move. Here's the move. You cross the little end over the end of the long piece. The long end goes into your left hand, the short end comes out. So you just switch. Don't stop there, because that looks really bad. Give that one extra complete revolution. Now that looks better. It almost looks like the ends are just draped around. Now you do the magic, you grab the middle of that short piece, you pull it off, and it looks like you just pull the ends off. Now that's a pretty good little effect. Pulling the ends off of a piece of rope, then you can show that this is apparently a piece of rope that has no ends. This is fun to do. You get in front of the mirror, you can do this for hours. You're just holding the 2 ends together like that. It's like the linking ring move, the steering wheel move, or what do they call it? The linking ring move. But you just pretend. Okay? When you're ready to put the ends back on, you do this. You do the same thing you did to take them off, just in reverse. So one end of the short piece goes into the left hand, one end of the long piece comes out. So you switch them out. Do the same thing, one extra revolution. So that looks very similar to what you had a moment ago. The difference is now those are the real ends, so it looks like they melt right back on. So that's the end of the first part. Second part starts the same way. You do the switch exactly the same as before. One extra revolution, and then you tie an overhand knot here. Okay? So that looks pretty fair. You pull on this, That upsets the knot, almost like the 20th century silks, or the sympathetic silks, where that turns into a sliding knot. Okay, so you do this, you grab the knot, you bring the knot up a little bit, so you're really just moving these two ends down to about halfway. The only reason for that is so that it looks like you're cutting it somewhere other than right next to the knot. And this is just the fingers, pop this end up, and it looks like you just cut it. Okay? So now you untie this knot, and it looks like you've got a pretty short piece next to a relatively long piece. But of course, it's really this situation. And this is kind of like Takagi's restoration. You see, I'm going to put the first end here. I'll put the second end where the first end used to be. And all you're going to do is take this end, grab one of the ends of the little piece, and hold them together. I don't want to just drop everything, because to me that doesn't look quite right. I drop it and I twirl it so that it can untwirl. So it kind of helps disguise the fact that you did that. So at regular speed it looks like this. You say, 2 pieces of rope, I'll hold the first rope over here, the long end. I'll put the second piece where the first end used to be. I say the magic words, con cuartos, cuadrada, por irnos a la cima creación, and the ropes go back together, and that's the end of the restoration. Now, this is a weird thing, but it works. You've got the short piece here. You put the real end of the long piece right next to the other end of the long piece, hold them together. You take the short piece and you fold it in half and hold it in the left hand. So what you really have is this, and the 2 real ends are together. But it looks like you just folded the rope. Now I want to get these real ends all the way down at the bottom, so all I do is just move it down, holding them together, and this part goes over the middle finger until you get near the very end. So that way you have the real ends here, and those are the fake ends. But it looks like that's the middle, and those are the ends. I'm going to get rid of this little piece by crumpling them up one end at a time. The first one gets crumpled up, it goes through the hollow core of the rope, jumps to the other side. Do the same thing, you're crumpling it up. So all you're doing is just crumpling up the little piece and hiding it in your hand. And it jumps over to here, so now the ends are where the middle used to be. I feel vulnerable if I drop that, because this hand has got nothing except the hidden piece of rope. I don't like being in that position, so I would rather, before dropping it, I will grab this end and now drop it, because now I'm holding the rope. So it looks like the ends jumped across. You fold this in half a few times, hand it to somebody on your right. So at this point I say, usually people think this is a piece of phony fake magician's rope. No, I got the phony stuff right here. So once again, I feel vulnerable if I have something palmed in my hand. So immediately, as soon as I let go of this rope, I pick up this rope to help hide it. And I say, no, this is regular rope. You can buy it at any magic store, hand it out for examination. Now, I make an effect out of this. You just grab the little piece of rope and one of these ends, and you put them together. As I say to that person, pull on it, make sure it doesn't stretch or shrink. That's just my reason for getting these together. And then I say, I can't let you see this piece right here because this is special. Well, I'll tell you what, you can look at a little piece and just pretend like you pull a little piece off, and you hand it to somebody on your left. Now, this is a great knot. I learned this from the Mark Wilson course of magic. It's the pretzel knot. It's hard to explain, but it's pretty easy to do. It just takes practice. You go around towards the audience, and you cross in front. Now, if you're going to take a mental picture of anything, this would be it. Here to here. Now I'm going to grab this end that's pointing up by reaching inside. Now here's the thing that makes this trick work. As soon as you grab the end, you start twirling it towards yourself, the top towards yourself. When this hand comes out, you keep that in, but you twirl it. And once that drops off, the only reason this rope is holding itself together like a knot is because I've got it twirled. I mean, if you twirl it too much, it's going to look like that. That's no good. But if you don't twirl it enough, it's going to just dissolve. So this is going to take some practice. How much you twirl it depends on the slickness of the rope. It depends on the thickness. It depends on a lot of things. But basically, you do this and you twirl it. Now, if you've got the right amount of twirl in it, this is a wonderful thing because they see the knot apparently get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if there's a little bit of roughness to the rope, you can do that. You can't do that if it's aluminum, polyester, or nylon. That's what I say, like ship, yachting rope. That's really slick. But that's pretty good. Just be careful, because it's ready to go. But if you say, look, I'm going to tie a knot right in the middle like this, and if you know the secret of the magic knot, you can take that knot, squeeze it with your fist. So you say, squeeze it with your fist, and that creates the illusion that the knot disappears. Actually, the knot does not disappear. It's still there. It's just very, very small. It's a little bump, so that's good. Now, to bring the knot back, this is explained in so many magic books, but it's always done this way. It's the instantaneous knot. If you hold each end of the rope between your thumb and first finger only, the other hand has the thumb and first finger only, but in opposite directions. One end is pointing away from you, one end is pointing towards you. In very slow motion, if you have a big space between your index finger and the other 3 fingers here, and the same thing here, big space, you're going to clip the rope from your right hand between your left first and second fingers. At the same time, you're going to clip the end in the left hand between the right first and second fingers. So what happens is the hands come together, clip, clip, let go with your thumbs, and if you separate your hands, you have a knot. That is the instantaneous knot. And the way it's normally done is this. The hands come together, they switch, the hands come apart, you've got a knot. The only thing I changed that was different is I say, and if I give the rope a quick shake, and I turn sideways a little bit and shake it once. That's the reason for bringing the hands together, so that when you shake it, it goes like that. I mean, you wouldn't shake it like that. It just doesn't work. But if you go like, ha, 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 choo, and you shake it and you do the instantaneous knot, it almost looks like the knot just appears. So you say, all I have to do is give it a little shake like this, ha, choo, and you've got the knot. Hand that out to somebody on your left. You're ready for the professor's nightmare part. So far you've done all this stuff and you haven't even done the professor's nightmare. Take the long piece of rope back first, take the short piece back next. Instead of bringing up the ends and doing some kind of a phony thing, this is an idea by Jose de la Torre, Magicana from Havana. You show this, and the middle-sized piece is on the left side as well. So that gives me a reason to just sort of temporarily put the small piece over here as I reach for it. And when you do that, they get crossed like an X. And make sure it's right in the middle. So the middle of this small piece is held with the thumb, and that should be about the same amount like this. I don't know if that makes sense, but you got to just cross it like this. As you reach for this piece, that's the misdirection. Here's the whole move. From here to there. So there, they're just crossed. Here, one is looped around the other one, like that. But when you bring the hand back, it looks like you haven't done anything. It still looks like there's a short piece. Put this in the middle, so it looks like there's the short piece, the middle-sized piece, and the long piece. You're ready for the big finish, and you gather the opposite ends. You say the magic word, stretcho, 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 and you go into the professor's nightmare. All right? Then you do the false count. Oh, the false count's important. The fingering position is very important for the false count. Here's what you do. Thumb and first finger only grabs the first piece. You show that it's solid, fold it in half, and let it drop. As you come to take the second piece, these 3 fingers go underneath here, so you can let go with your thumb. And this goes here. You leave the single piece behind. You clip the 2 ends here. You separate. Pull on it, make sure it doesn't stretch or shrink. Show that one, and the third one. So it's very convincing. Now the last part comes from Dan Garrett. It's from his lecture notes, Ticklers and Teasers, the Professor's Daydream. This uses the Al Baker knot, which is this. Normally, when you're doing cut and restored rope or something like that and you're in this position, the normal thing that most magicians do is they tie a single overhand knot. And that's it. But in real life, that wouldn't work. If you had 2 pieces of rope side by side and you tied a single overhand knot, they would not hold together. So you fake the first one by just giving it 1 extra revolution. And this is a little John Cornelius show. I think that looks really convincing. So all it is, it's this, but with 1 extra revolution. Now you tie a single overhand knot on top of that, and the audience can actually see the ends tighten. And that upsets that knot, turns it into a sliding knot, just like the 20th, no, what is it? Sympathetic silks. Now you're ready for the big finish. There's the first knot, goes in your hand. The second knot pretends to go in the hand, but you keep it there. So when you slide it down, it's not like you're going to slide it off. Just slide it till it's near the end. Then you do the magic, and you say, even though the ropes are securely tied together, they change back to 3 different lengths. That's a pretty strong thing. And all you did was you just slid the knot from here to here. Now you have to switch as you untie the knot. The good thing about the switch is you don't have to do anything tricky. Pinch the knot anywhere. If you pinch the knot somewhere, you've got the small piece. So untie everything else around, away from it, you still have the small piece, and you hand that out to somebody. And then you untie this, you hand that to somebody else, you hand the last piece out to somebody else, and you finish the entire routine, and you're clean. You're clean, man. You got to be clean. Any questions on... There's a lot more to it, but that's the gist of it. Okay, so any questions on this? False count? The false count's good. If that's all you get is the false count, that would be worth learning. Okay, puzzling... here's a good one. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. I heard this story. This is a puzzle. I heard this probably 20 years ago, and I still don't get it. Maybe somebody can help me. Here's the story. 3 men go to a hotel, right? They each contribute $10 for their share of the hotel room. They get up to the room. The hotel manager realizes that they were overcharged by $5. It should have been $25. So the manager gives $5 to the bellman to return to the men. Well, on the way up to the room, the bellman says, $5, 3 men, it's going to be difficult to divide equally. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give $3 back to the men. That way they each get $1 apiece. I'll keep the other $2 for myself as a tip. So originally, each man paid $10 for his share of the room. Each man just got $1 back. That means now each man paid $9. $9 times 3 men is $27. If you add to that the $2 the bellman kept as the tip, that gives us a total of $29. And the question is, what happened to the 30th dollar? That's the question. The answer? Anyone? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I've known this for years. I have no idea what happens to the 30th dollar. But I'm no fool, so I tried to figure it out one day. I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some dough. So I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, $5 makes 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more makes 10. 5 more makes 15. Another 5 makes 20. $10 more, $30. 3 men, they go to the room. The hotel manager realizes they were overcharged by $5, so he says, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. He gives it to the bellman to return. The bellman says, $5, 3 men, that's not going to divide equally. I'm going to give them $3 back. That way they get $1 each. I'll keep the other $2 for myself as a tip. So he does that. So originally, remember, each man paid $10 for his share of the room. Each man just got $1 back. You saw it happen. So that means $9 apiece. 9 times 3 is 27. Isn't that right? 27. So that's 10. 5 more makes 15. Another 5 makes 20. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 2 more makes 27, as it should. But if you add to that the $2 the bellman kept, that's a total of $29. And the question is, what happened to the 30th dollar? Anyone? The answer? I still have no idea. Not a clue. But sometimes I do this and people think, oh yeah, you're a magician though. You're probably doing something tricky. You're probably like doing something. No, I am not doing anything. Would you help me? Sure. Would you come up here? How about we give Jim another warm round of applause as he leaps to the stage? That's right. Thank you for helping out. Now, Jim, I trust you. Every time I do this, I lose $1. So it's not my #1 favorite trick to do, but I brought another $1. I'm willing to spend the dough. I'm going to add that to the pile once again, $30. I'm going to let you do all the counting.
Okay.
Okay? So you take all the money in your own hands and make sure I don't palm anything. I've got nothing tricky. Remember, it was $30. They paid $10 a piece, but they were overcharged by $5. So would you count off $5, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
The rest of the money goes off to the side for just a moment. Out of the $5, remember, the bellman takes $3 to return, so count off $3. And pick up that $3 and give it back to the men over there. Perfect. And he should have $2 remaining for himself. Is that right? That's his tip, so put that over for the bellman. Now remember, each man originally paid $10, but each man just got $1 back. So that means now each man paid $9. $9 times 3 men should be how much money?
27.
I know. That's what I thought. There should be $27 there. Now there's a 10 on the bottom, so that'll be $10. 5 more is 15, 20. Here, you count it out loud.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So that's 27, and you add to that the $2 the bellman kept, and that gives you how much?
29.
And the answer is, what happened to the missing $1? The answer is, I still don't know, but I thank you for playing our game. That's a good, clean fun. It's a weird, and you can do this with any currency. It doesn't take a lot of figuring out if you're doing it with, like British pound sterling or something like that. All you do is you find the lowest denomination bill. It's got to be banknotes. And in this case, because it's American money, $1 bill works great. So the setup is you have only $29 to begin with. You have a 10, 2 5s, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ones. Now, I like to do this in 3 phases. First, I tell the story. So the dollar bill vanishes in the spectator's mind while you're telling the story. And then I tell the story a second time, but I illustrate the story as I count the money. Here's how you do that. You start with all $29 in your little wallet or wherever you want to keep your bills. And I like to have them face down, so the green side is up. because here's what happens. They all go inside. When I take the money out, I'm just in the habit of leaving one bill inside the envelope, or the wallet, or whatever you want to carry them in. So now, that's going to be for producing apparently the 30th dollar. There's really only $28 here, okay? So here's what you do. You're going to do a false count. Now this false count is not hard, but it just takes some practice. If you push the bill over with your left thumb, take it between your right first finger and thumb like this, and there's a big space between those fingers. That's important. So you do this. As soon as you take it, you switch your first and second finger, and then you switch back. Now that seems silly, doesn't it? Why would you do that and then do that? Well, because you have to do it on each one. The second one, you take it between the first and second finger. As you bring your hands apart, your second finger grabs it. As you separate your hands, you do this. The second finger and thumb go together as the first finger comes out, and then the first finger goes to the front as the second finger goes out again. So this walking action is what gives it the deception. So the third one goes here, fourth one here. That's how you count each bill. You take each one between the first and second fingers, you pull the first finger out, temporarily holding it with the second finger, then the first finger goes back in the front as that goes out. So you do this, that's the regular count. Now when you're going to do the false count, it's exactly the same with one small change. 1, 2, on 3, you start to take it, but at the last minute, you change your mind. And your thumb pulls it back. So you start to take it, it goes between the fingers, but your thumb pulls it back. At the same time, your first and second fingers switch, and then they switch back. So in slow motion, it's this. A little faster. A little faster. And when you practice this, you could actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you don't take any of them. You just don't take any of them. But it does take some practice. 1, 2. On 3, I usually do the fake move. 3, 4, I take. 5, I take. Now you have to do this twice because you want to convince the audience that this $28 is actually $30. So I say, here's a little mystery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes 5. Actually, that's only 4. You do the exact same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more makes 10. Actually, that's 8. So you're 2 steps ahead. 5 more makes 15, another 5 makes 20, and 10 more makes $30. 3 men, $10 apiece, hotel room. They go up. They realize they were overcharged by $5, so the hotel manager gives $5 to the bellman. Here you have to really count 5, so don't do any false counts here, even though it's tempting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rest of the money goes there. Out of the 5, the bellman says, I'm going to return $3 to the men. Count off 3. That way they get $1 each. Add it to those. That leaves $2 for me as a tip. And that's what happens. Now you want to tell the story, and apparently $1 is going to vanish, but you have to do the false count once. You say, well, there's 10. That makes 10. 5 more makes 15. Another 5 makes 20. What you have left is $6, which you want to count as 7. So you do the same false count. You say 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's actually 4. You say that makes 25. 2 more makes 27. 9 times 3 is 27. It kind of makes sense. Add to that the $2 the bellman kept. That gives us a total of $29. What happened to the 30th dollar? So all the attention's on these 4 ones, not this squared up stack of 4 posing as 5. Okay, so now you say, well, but if I do it, you might think I'm doing something. I'm palming it. So you get somebody from the audience, and this is my favorite part. Get somebody from the audience to do the counting. All you do is you square up all the money and you give it to the spectator. So there's $28 there, but everybody thinks there's 29. You say, I hate to do this because every time I do it, I lose $1, but I'm willing to do it. Here's another $1, bringing our total back up to 30. Like it was a moment ago, but actually now for the first time there's truly $29. So now the spectator counts it, and you say, well, don't forget they were overcharged by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. The rest of the money goes there. Out of the 5, $3 is returned to the men. That way they get $1 each. The other 2 is kept by the bellman as his tip. And this is the part that I still don't really get it, but I pretend I know. $10 each. They each got $1 back. Each man paid $9. $9 times 3 men is $27. There is $27 here, as there should be. There's 10, 5 more makes 15, another 5 makes 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 2 more makes 27. Even in the spectator's hands, you add the $2 extra. That's 29 instead of 30. Once again, yet again, another dollar has vanished. And that's called a puzzling bill vanish. Because it's a bit puzzling. Puzzling bill vanish. Now that's a lot more. Oh, well, you think that's confusing? Does anybody think that's confusing? Then I better not do this next one. This next one is weird. It's called, okay, some people know this as the trick that fooled Einstein. Yeah. Joe Einstein. He owns a delicatessen on 3rd Street. Nice guy, though. Not brilliant, but nice guy. Very nice man. All right, let's see if I have a pen. Oh, man, I had a pen. Oh, a Sharpie. Would you help me again, Jim? You're good. You know what? You're good. You should just have a seat right up here. Here's a spot for you. And I hope you have some pocket change. Do you have any pocket change?
I believe I do.
Because this is a great thing. You don't even know. Do you know how much you have?
I do not.
Perfect. Have a seat, relax, get comfortable. If you don't know, I certainly don't know. I don't even know how much I have, but I have a lot. I brought a lot with me. And I'm not going to use all of it. In fact, you put your coins on the table, but cover them with your hand. And since we're not going to use all of them, just take a few random coins away and hide them somewhere. Like, under the mat. Oh, I almost looked. I don't want to look. So you have a bunch of coins. You don't know how many. I don't know how many. You hit a few, and you've got whatever's left, and they're hidden. All right, here comes the psychic part. I need a pen. May I borrow a pen from someone? Yes, this is giving me psychic vibrations. Hey, I'm working here. Okay. Okay, enough of that. Okay, I have as many coins as you. I don't know. Wait, I don't even have to look. I could feel the psychic vibration. I have as many coins as you. Okay. I'm quite certain I have three more, and enough left over when added to your coins to give you a total of 23 coins. That's my prediction. That's what I feel. I have as many coins as you, 3 coins more, and enough left over when added to your coins to give you a total of 23. Let's find out if that's right. Lift up your hand. Count your coins one at a time for everyone to hear.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14 coins. I have as many as you, so I have 14. That's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have as many as you. 3 coins more. That's what I said. Oh, 3 coins more. So that's 1, 2, 3. And enough left over when added to your coins to give you a total of 23. Now, how many did you have? 14?
14, yes.
So this would make 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13? Oh.
I had 14.
Oh, 14.
Okay.
14. 3 coins more. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Fooled myself. I don't know what's happening. Okay, well, it never works. It doesn't work anyway. No, wait a minute. This always works. Wait a minute. See, it's confusing. I don't know why it didn't work, because it always works. It's self-working. How do you like that? A self-working trick that never misses. I probably put too much away. Yep. Should we just go right into the explanation? No, we shouldn't. I should do it. I'm supposed to have put this much away. I know what happened. I cheated. I had an extra one ready. So this is what it is. 14?
Yes.
14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Boy, if this will be embarrassing. 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And enough left over to give you 23. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Ladies and gentlemen, works every time, never misses. It's a beautiful. No, you know what? I tell you, I normally don't share this with my audiences, but I'm from a circus background, and we've learned in the trapeze business to always make it look more difficult than it truly is, just to get that extra oomph. Okay, so, here, cover it up. I don't want to see anything. I had a little more put away than I should have. I'm going to add the extra coins. You add your extra coins too, okay? So whatever you had hidden, add it to your coins. Cover it up so that I can't see anything. Oh, that's, yeah. Whatever you dropped, pick them all up. And I'm going to go for the psychic vibrations again, but this time to make it very, very difficult, very difficult. I'm going to go for the total amount of money Not just the number of coins as counting objects, but the value, the monetary value. So this time I believe I have as much money as you. I'm gonna say 11 cents more. 11 cents more. And enough left over when added to your money to give you a total of $2.89. I am committed. I've been in and out a few times, but at the moment I'm committed. Man, I hope this works. Okay, so let's see what you got. How much money do you have added up in the actual monetary value?
$1, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 209.
209. So I says I have as much money as you, so that should be 209. There's 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $2, and you said 209?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Okay, yeah. Oh, shit. It doesn't look good. Oh, no. Well, no, I don't know. I mean, it's a gift, it's a gift. Sometimes it's a curse. But now I claim I have as many as you. 11 cents more. Did I do the 11 cents part yet?
Not yet.
Oh, that's too bad. All right, I'll do it. There's 11 cents right there, right there. Look at that. It's 10, one more is 11. So then this is what's left over. I have as much money as you, 11 cents more, and enough left over when added to your money to give you a total of $2.89. Now, do you remember how much you had?
It's 209.
209. Okay, 209. This would make...
Well, you should have 80 cents.
Oh, yeah, that's the easy way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 80 cents.
Yes.
All right. 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, 70, 80. Ladies and gentlemen, $2.89. It works every time. It can't possibly fail, and I have no idea how it's done. Thank you for helping, and thank you for playing our game. Oy, 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 oy. I don't really know exactly how this works, but in theory, I know how to do it. Here's what you do. It is confusing, but it's good, clean fun. Here's what you do. You have to have more money than the spectator. That's all that matters, as long as you have quite a bit much more than they do. So this is your money, and I don't know how much it is. In fact, you can put some of it aside, and so at the beginning, we don't know how much there is. I do know that to make this trick work, you need, I'm using $3, exactly $3 and change, because in theory, that's easy for me to remember. But, there's $3 and change, there's 8 quarters, so if you're going to take notes, 8 quarters, 6 dimes, 6 nickels, and 10 pennies. That's $3, 30 coins. Okay. You bring your money out, I bring my money out. I am not going to use all of it just yet, so I take 2 quarters and 2 pennies. So 4 coins go away for later. So now instead of 30 coins, I've got 26 coins. Is that right? If I mess up, stop me before it gets too far. So there's 26 coins. With me so far? So far, so good. Okay. I still don't have any idea what you have. But what I say is I have as many coins as you, 3 more, and enough left over to give you a total of 23 coins. Well, all that you have to do is, if you know there's 26 coins here, the 23 and the 3 have to add up to 26. I could just as easily say I have as many coins as you, 2 more, and enough left over to give you a total of 24 coins. Right? Or if it doesn't matter, as long as those 2 add up to the total number of coins I have. Because here, let's see what you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I know I've got as many as you. That's 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then when I say 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and enough left over when added to your coins will give you a total of 23. Well, here's the weird part. Because if I have 26 coins, then I have something less than 26 coins plus 3 more, and whatever's left over is going to add up to 26 coins. So whether I'm adding them to my coins or your coins, it doesn't make any difference. So I've got as many coins as you, 3 more, and enough when added to your coins. Do you remember the number? How many were here? 14, 16, 16. That sounds good. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Believe it or not, it always works out. I don't know. Okay, so, but yeah. What I did, that was a mistake, is I had an extra piece of paper folded up in there instead of keeping it separate like that. It was in here. So instead of just putting away 2 quarters and 2 pennies, which is 4 coins, I must have put in away like 5 coins, which throws it off. So the first time it adds up to the 26. Then you go for the amount of money. You add your coins. I don't know how much you've got at all, but I add my coins, which brings my total up to $3. So in the same way, this and this have got to add up to $3. Just like a moment before, this and this had to add up to 26, which is the number of coins. This and this has to add up to $3, which is the dollar value of the total amount of coins. Does this make any sense at all? Oh, great. Because good. Glad to hear it. So at the second part, you say, okay, this time I have as much money as you. You could just as easily say, instead of 11, you could say I've got 10 cents more, but then that would make this 90, $2.90. Or you can say 8 more, and this would be $2.91, or, it always works. So is that a good enough explanation? No, don't ask any questions on this one. You can ask. You want to see that card thing again?
No, it's a simple question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a minimum amount of coins he has to have?
No, there is not. It will work. Now, that's a great question. Hey, what if he only had 1 coin? Will it work? In theory, it should. Let's try it, shall we? So you want to do the first one or the second one? The first one, okay. So then in the first one, don't forget there's 2 quarters and 2 pennies put away that they don't know about, as if it's just a random number you got. So right now I've got 26 coins. So my 2 numbers have got to add up to 26. So I could say I have as many coins as you, X number more. I could say any number. But if I looked and say, oh, I've obviously got a lot more. But I could still say 3 more. Let's say I say 3 more. And enough left over when added here is to give you a total of, it would be 23, because 3 and 23 adds up to 26. You're with me so far? So you have 1. I say, okay, I have as many as you, that's 1. I've got 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and then enough left over when added to your coins to give you a total of 23. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It will work. But the only thing is you have to make sure you have more coins than they do, and you have to know, you don't have to know exactly how many more, but if you have to know, if you're going to say 3 more, you've got to have at least 3 more. If you want to play it safe, you can always say I have 2 more, but 3 more is good if you have a lot of coins. Does that help? Yeah. See, I don't know exactly, but it works every time, especially if you do everything right. Okay, shall we move on? Let's move on to something else. Yeah, let's do that. I know I would feel better about that personally. And we'll make arrangements to get your money back to you one of these days. Yeah. Here. No, it's a free gift. Oh, yeah, well, it's your money. I mean, yeah.
We got a question that pertains to that trip.
Oh, no.
It's super simple.
Okay.
He just wants to know if you can show what you wrote down to the camera.
Yes, I can. In fact, let me do it again. I'm not the whole thing, trust me. Yes, I'll show you exactly. I was looking for a Sharpie, but I must have put it away in my bag. Yeah, exactly. That's right, because I did. Oh, here's a little something. I did a deck switch, didn't I? So smooth, I forgot I did it myself. All right. Yes. The first time you say, for example, I have as many coins as you, 3 coins more, and enough left over to give you a total of 23. All that you have to do, if you know that you've got 26 coins, these 2 numbers have got to add up to 26. Okay? I had 30 coins, but I put a few aside, 4 coins aside. There were 26 left. These have to add up to 26. But you can see that this is equivalent to saying, if I have as many as you, 2 coins more, and enough left over will give you a total of 24. It's the same thing. I just took 1 off of here and put it there instead. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the monetary amount. As long as those 2 amounts add up to $3, which is the total monetary amount of the coins that you have, it will work out.
And you can just lift that up a bit so it's facing like the camera. There we go.
Oh, well, it used to be 3 to add up to 23, and then 2 to add up to 24, or just as easily, you could say, I have as many as you, 4 coins more. Wait, this will be a test for the class here. What if I was to say, I have as many coins as you, 4 coins more, yeah, and enough left over when added to your coins to give you a total of what?
21.
There seems to be. Well, let's try it both ways and see which way. No, it would be, what did I say, 4 coins more? 22. Because the 22 cents or the 22 coins and the 4 coins have got to add up to 26 coins. It's really, it sounds a lot more complicated than it is.
You know, you should point out that you've got your email address, or your website at the bottom of that.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. And this is a great giveaway, because you do give this away, and people are going to scratch their heads saying, how could he have known that?
So if they want to get you more work, they can also put your website at the bottom of the paper they hand out.
That's right. If you're particularly, it depends on how good you are. You say, oh, wow, he would have done it for a lot cheaper. Rah, 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 rah. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from our folks at home?
Just some that I'll ask. Let me check here. One other. No, he said thanks for asking. All the others I can ask when you come over. So keep going.
Okay. It's getting,
Well, I do have a request.
wait, it's getting cold in here.
Request that you've been asked for. Somebody asked if you could do Dr. Daly's last trick.
Oh, I could. Yeah, you want to? Hey, yeah, that would be a great idea. Which one is that again? It's one of my personal favorites. Sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, you betcha. Dr. Jacob Daly. Oh, the way I like to do it is the same trick exactly. I just call it the trick question. This is actually kind of fun to do. I'll use the aces, but the idea is I tell the audience, I say, I can explain how all magic is done. Actually, this is a premise to the color-changing knife trick. I say, I can explain in one word how all magic is done. And I say that one word is misdirection. Misdirection is if I can make you look here, I can make you look away from there. If I know where you're looking, I know where you're not looking. So I can direct your attention towards one thing, that misdirects you away from something else. But much easier, or much more subtle, is that's physical misdirection, where you misdirect somebody's eyes. So if you're walking down the street and you hear an explosion, everybody's going to turn towards the sound. That's misdirecting their eyes, their body. Much more subtle is to misdirect someone's mind. Look at me right here. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to miss an... Oh, I thought... Okay, good. So, misdirecting somebody's mind. I'm going to try this. May I try this with you? I'm going to attempt to misdirect your mind from your seat. 4 cards, only 4 cards. I use the aces just for my own amusement. Okay, fine. I'm having to remember. Oh, yeah. Watch this very closely. Very closely. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first 2 questions I ask you are very simple, ordinary, everyday questions. However, the 3rd question is known as the trick question. Are you ready? That's 1. No, just kidding. Question number 1 is, what is the color of this ace, red or black? That is correct. Black. Question number 2, also an easy one. I'll give you a hint. What's the color of the next ace, red or black? That is correct. 2 for 2. You are on a roll. But now it is time for the trick question. And that is this. Out of the 2 black aces, ace of clubs and ace of spades, which ace would you say most people would say is on the top, clubs or spades? Most people would say clubs. You're right. But actually the answer is the top card is spades, the bottom card is clubs, the hearts and diamonds are here just to confuse you. And that's the mystery of Dr. Jacob Daly's last trick. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm quite certain that L&L Publishing just did a whole DVD on several ways to do that. They're all basically the same. I like this version because there's no displacement. The original Dr. Jacob handling is you'd show a card, you'd push off a double, you'd have to do a displacement. There's versions with the glide and doubles. This is a Brother John Hammond move, and I think it's a really nice way to do it. 4 aces, 4 cards. All you have to do is make sure the aces are together in color, and the bottom one's the ace of spades. So that's pretty easy. When you put them together, you say, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first one is this. This is the Brother John Hammond Gemini count. The first 2 cards come out of the middle. So the top card gets pushed over a little bit. The bottom card gets buckled a little bit with your middle finger. You're going to pull the double from the middle, turn the 2 cards face up. The answer to the first question is black. When you turn that card face down, that's a double lift, so that's actually one of the red ones. Then you say, I'll give you a hint. What color is the next one? You show the bottom one. You do a double off the bottom, which is the same as just moving the top card over and turning over whatever's left, which will be the 2 cards. So you say, out of the 2 black aces, clubs and spades, which ace would you say is on the top? Most people would say clubs, because they think you're referring to these cards. You say, no. Actually, the top card is spades. The bottom card is clubs. These red ones are here to confuse you. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, that's it. Well, that was good, clean fun. Anything else? Oh, good. Okay. I'm going to do some serious magic. This is serious business. Very serious. So I'm going to have to bring out my professional prop. I've wanted to use this for years, man. My professional prop. Whoa. Yeah, what a pro. I know. Yeah, chicks dig it, man. Solid magic wand. And I need a purse frame. Oh, no, I know what I need. I do. I need a purse frame. Does anybody have a purse frame? Oh, here's one. This is the Las Vegas purse frame. Oh, remember? Doesn't make any noise. That's because you can't hear it. Look, there's one ball of sponge. Now, the mystery is to take the ball of sponge like this, give it a little blow, tap, whoop, tear it into two. Or another way to do it is take the invisible dust and sprinkle it on this one. So now there's two balls here. One you can see, one you can't see. The hard part is to separate the visible from the invisible, like sawing a lady in half. That way I can start from the beginning. Now, the hard part is I need to get a volunteer from the audience. And I seem to be looking in this general area here, or not. Is there anybody here who has never seen the world-famous magic ball trick? Great. Oh, I'm in a good position. Okay, fine. So here's what happens. Oh, come on. Would you do it? Just for good, clean fun? What do you say we give her some encouragement as you leave? Thank you so much. Bless your heart. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So here, have a seat right there. Get comfortable. Thank you for helping me. I was dying. I'm dying up here. But see, this is a classic in magic.
Okay.
Classic in magic. What is your name?
Haley.
Haley? Hello, Haley. My name is Daryl. Thank you for helping me. I appreciate your help. Now, 2 balls of sponge and 1 magic wand. This is a real magic wand. Now, this is ball number 1. This is ball number 2. Which do you prefer, 1 or 2? Wise choice. Hold on to ball number 2 in a very tight fist. Squeeze it tightly. Show it no mercy. Turn your hand over. Palm down. That's perfect. You have number 2. I have number 1. But I have the magic wand. I tap here. I tap there. Did you feel the magic?
Yes.
All right. Good job. You're feeling well?
Yes.
Which one did I give you, number 1 or number 2?
Number 2.
Turn your head over, take a look inside. Oh, you've got number 1. I've got number 2. They've changed places. Thank you. You seem underwhelmed. Tell the truth. Did you feel the balls change places? Oh, that's too bad. That's a shame, because it's really great. If you hold it very, very tightly, you will actually feel the ball dematerialize from within your fist. And then, yes? And the other ball will take its place. No, you got to feel it. It's great. It's a great thing. Look, I'll hold number 1 very tightly. You hold number 2 just as tightly. Squeeze it. No mercy. Turn your hand palm down. I tap here and I tap there. Did you feel them change places this time? No, they didn't change this time. See, I used the wrong end of the magic wand that made this ball disappear. It flew through the air invisibly, and believe it or not, it landed inside of your tightly clenched fist. Do you believe such nonsense? Good for you. I appreciate your spirit. Put your hand over the table. Open your hand gently. Let everybody see. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 balls, and we have ourselves another winner right there. Thank you for your help. All right, let's keep it going for your help here. That's good. Thank you very much. Woo, doggy dog. Oh, man. Another winner. It's like doing the bunny rabbit trick. I love the bunny rabbits, multiplying rabbits. Peter Rabbit goes to town. But you can't do it for a room full of magicians. But you do it for normal people, and it's a whole different deal. This trick is good, clean fun. It's a simple sponge ball routine, and you don't really need a magic wand, although I like to use something. The setup, if you want to call it such, is normally I'll just bring out both balls and start. If you want to magically produce the first one, you can have a purse frame. The setup would be 1 ball in each pocket. You have your magic wand or your chopstick or your pencil or your pen, your table knife, whatever you're going to use, and the purse frame goes in the right pocket. So this is the standard Al Goshman production. Both hands go in. You bring this out a little bit before you bring this out, and this hand has the ball. So the misdirection is you're looking for something, you don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. As soon as you bring that out, the audience should look there. That gives you cover to bring this hand out. Now, if you want to put it here, this was a Johnny Paul idea, is to open it like this. You can do that or not do that. You say there's no noise because it doesn't make any sound, but you produce 1 ball, close up the purse frame, put it away, and all the attention should be here. If you blow on it, when you put the purse frame away, by the way, a nice thing about the purse frame is it's another prop, and in a good way, because that gives you a reason to put it away in your pocket. So you pull it out to produce the ball. After you produce the ball, you just casually put this away, and as you put it away, you steal the second ball. So you have one here. Now, if you want to, you could take this one, add the second one to it, blow on it, put it down on the table, and say, look, it's like sawing a lady in half. And then you can saw it in half and apparently split it into two. So you start with the 2 balls. Or what I normally do is just bring out the 2 balls and go from there. Now, here's the routine. I usually will put one in this hand, one in this hand, not doing anything, and say, wait, oh no, it's the other way around. This one goes in this hand, this one goes in this hand. And you do a false transfer. False transfer, it's not like this. It's just you pretend to put it there, and you don't let go. You just put it there, you close your hand, and it's not there. So this is a very easy false transfer. You know, if you put your thumb on it, and you turn your hand over, it will not fall. No, try it. It doesn't fall. So you pretend it went to the other hand. You close your hand as if it went there. Don't show that. Bring this hand away, but don't bring it away with your thumb missing. As you move your hand away, your fingers kind of casually curl in and your thumb moves up. But don't, you know, this so Di Vernon, I've seen him do it. I remember I was in his apartment and he would stand in front of the mirror and he would do the move. He would actually transfer it from hand to hand over and over again. What does that look like? And then try to make the fake move look the same. I like to think of these Newton's cradle. Have you ever seen those things, those steel balls? It's the transference of energy. If you are going, even I'm sorry, I'm getting off the track, but it's all good. It's the hand continues, the action continues. It's like those Newton's thing, the kinetic energy. Albert Goshman was so good at this, the hands wouldn't even come together. He would take a coin and he'd go like this, and you'd practically see it. And there was like 10 inches between his hands. Same kind of thing, but the hands touch, and this hand starts here, it goes there, it goes there. So that's the false transfer. Here's the routine. Once you have the part where you've got the 2 balls in your hand, the wand goes under the wand goes under the arm. You say, hold this one here, nothing happens. Oh wait, it's the other way around. Put that down, do the false transfer, pick up this one, and then it looks like the ball vanishes from one hand, goes to the magician's other hand. Then you put them down. Now, I like to do this. You do another false transfer, you tap it with the wand, you say, that doesn't make it disappear, it makes it invisible. I left this part out because I was just so excited to have you up here. But you make the first ball disappear, it's invisible. You say, I put it there, there's 2 balls here, one you can see, one you can't see. Now this is a fun thing. So you make the ball vanish, but you don't say it vanished, you say I made it invisible. It's kind of fun to have somebody, oh, you could feel that, do you feel that? Oh yeah, it's like a ghost. Have some good clean byplay. Then you put the invisible ball with the visible ball. Apparently there's 2 balls there, one you can see, one you can't. And you're going to do this little move so that it looks like you just pick it up and show it. But actually, you press that one down in the finger palm of the left hand turns down, the right hand turns palm up, and you throw it in the air. So it should look like you just pick it up and your hands are otherwise empty. You say, but if I separate the visible from the invisible, almost like you tear it in half and the 2 halves grow, you're back where you started from. So that's the first part. Now, magic in the spectator's hands. I say, I'm going to let you hold on to one. Which do you prefer, number 1 or number 2? Number 1 or number 2? They always pick number 2. So hold number 2 in a tight fist. See, this is the reason for doing this part of the routine is if the spectator is going to open their hand too early, which, as you know, is pretty much the only thing that can go wrong with this trick. You'd rather find out when it's not a bad time. Find out before you're vulnerable. So I always do this trial thing. I say, you want to hold which one? Hold number 2 in a very tight fist, squeeze it, show it no mercy, turn your hand palm down. Don't let go. So they're going to hold on tightly. Say, I hold number 1, but I have the magic wand. If I tap here and I tap there, magic happens in your own hand. Did you feel it? They usually say no. And either way, you say, open your hand. Which one did I give you? Number 1 or number 2? Have them say it. And you say number 2. I say, open your hand now. You have number 1. I have number 2. They changed places. And that's good for a yuck. And yucks are bucks. And then you move on to the next part. Did you feel them change? They'll say no. They didn't feel them. Oh, you didn't hold it tight enough. It's a great sensation. If you hold it very, very tightly, you will actually feel the ball dematerialize from within your fist as the other ball slowly takes its place. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. It's like, wow, I want to feel that. They want to hold it more tightly the next time. So I say, look, I'll hold this one. Look how tightly I hold it. My veins pop out and everything. And that's just a false transfer. Then when you pick up this, you add the 2. They hold it, they don't know they've got 2, you make it vanish and it goes in their hand. So it's a simple sponge ball routine, but I personally believe once you make a ball vanish from your hand and appear in the spectator's hand, I think that's pretty much the end of the sponge ball trick. Anything after that is anticlimactic. 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket, it's like, it's not so good. So that's Daryl's sponge ball routine for you tonight. Oh, baby, how. There haven't been nearly enough coin tricks. You want to see that mentalism thing again? Oh, man, this is good. This is, nobody knows. Oh, man. Milliken's transfer. This is a close-up trick. It's one of the few tricks I do that's actually up close. I use two silver, no, these are $half and 2 quarters. So if you can see that, that's where the action happens. Hard to tell the difference, but if you're up close, you can see there's 2 quarters, 2 $half, 2 hands. Every move a picture. Quarter here, another quarter here. The $half go here. Now the $half, if you can hear, they make a slightly different sound than the quarters. They do, but that's because these are big old coins. Those are just little ones. But if I touch the thumbs together, a funny thing happens. They sound the same. See, that's a quarter and a half, and that's a quarter and a half. So it's the first part of the transposition. So there's a $half here, there's a quarter here, there's a $half and a quarter here. Not yet. It's not until I do the secret move. You tap the thumbs. Sounds different. See, now there's 2 quarters here, 2 $half there, and that's the mystery of the Milliken's transposition. That's all there is to it. If you want to add some extra stuff, you can, but to me, this is just a pretty simple, basic trick. Excuse me. To do this, you need 1 extra coin. You need a silver copper coin. You need just a regular $half. They don't have to be Ben Franklin, fancy pants coins, just any old $half, 2 quarters. I used to do this with New York City subway tokens. The more contrast, probably the better. The setup is you have all 5 coins, 3 $half and 2 quarters, someplace. You bring them out, and you do this Al Baker move. That's a great way to secretly keep one. If you have several coins and you want to keep one hidden in your hand and toss the rest to the other hand, you could push it to the tips of the fingers and classic palm it and then go like that, but that's a lot of work. It's a lot easier to just have a stack of coins, put your thumb on top of the stack, turn your hand over, it does not fall. Remember, sponge balls, same thing works with the coins. You release the pressure with all the coins except for the one that sticks to your thumb. I mean, it's just what is that? Friction. You just do that, and it's like friction. It stays there. So there's 2 quarters on your left side, 2 $half on your right side. You've got the extra $half finger palmed. Pick up the first quarter, drop it into your left hand. Pick up the second quarter, and you switch it for the $half. So all you really do is you just pinch the second quarter with the thumb and first finger, and you pretend to throw it, and you throw the other coin. But once you do that, now you pick up the $half, put it on top of the second $half, pick up both, and if you want to, you can show, because the $half will hide the quarter. So if they see 2 $half here, they hear 2 coins there, they know they must be the quarters. You classic palm one of the 2 $half here, and then you show there's a single quarter and a single $half, single quarter and $half, and you have the other coin here. Now, as soon as I do this, I like to drop it into the finger palm. And here's the prettiest part of the whole Milliken's transposition. You say, the first 2 coins have changed. There's a $half. You pick up the quarter. You do the same switch. So they think there's a $half and a quarter. You've got the extra quarter here. You pick up the $half, place it on top of the quarter, but you actually lay it directly on top so that it completely hides the quarter. You pick up both and you show your hand. So this quarter was already in the right hand. You pick up this $half, put it on top of that, hiding that one, and you show those 2. So it's a very quick little show. Then you classic palm that other $half, and you show that you've got the 2 quarters on one side and the 2 halves on the other side. One more little quickie trick. If you do this and you do this, so that you have 2 coins here, you hold back one of the $half from the finger palm, and you drop the other one to join that one. It looks like there's just 2 halves. And here's the fun part. You say there's a quarter, there's a second quarter, you squeeze it, turn them into a $half. And if you want, you can karate chop it back into 2 quarters. These are just fun things. You know what it's like. You're in your room and you're playing with your coins and you're having good, clean fun. So I thought, well, that's a good thing. I don't know if I would necessarily do these tricks together, because you don't really want to expose that you've got a third $half. But I mean, just by itself, that's not a bad trick. So you have 2 $half here. You have the extra one in the other hand. You finger palm one of the 2. You drop the other one there, so it looks like your hands are empty except for those 2. That's how you get the extra coin in the other hand. Pick up this quarter. Just pretend to put it in there, but you drop it in the finger palm of the right hand. This is a clink pass, so it looks like you add the second one to it, but you just 1, 2. And then you show, I squeezed the 2 quarters together into a $half. And then you hold it at the tips of the fingers. You've got these 2 in a finger palm. And just think karate chop. Karate. If you hold it like this from the exposed view, you just chop it, you drop those 2, and you finger palm this on the way up. And in theory, it looks like you just chopped the $half into 2 quarters. You put all the coins away and you reset for your next performance. And that is Milliken's transposition. Millikan's transposition. Woo-wee. Okay, guess what? It's time to start the lecture. No, so far I've just been doing a bunch of tricks, right? You know, I do a trick and show you how the trick works. But now it's time for the theory. So you might want to readjust yourself in your chair. It's going to take a while. This is the theory. In the dawn of magic, there was the effect. No, it is a theory. It's a long theory, and there's a lot of yapping going on. But I think instead, I'll just cut to the chase. The chase is this. The method is the secret means that we use to accomplish our effect, right? Always has been. If a caveman wants to make it look like he made a rock vanish from his hand, a perfectly usable method would be a false transfer. Now, the audience, this is important, the audience has got to believe something that is not true in order for an effect to take place. They have to. They have to accept a false premise. They have to make an assumption on something that's not true. If a caveman does a false transfer, if the audience doesn't believe that he transferred the rock from one hand to the other, when he opens that hand and it's not there, nobody's going to be amazed. There's not going to be the effect of the vanishing rock. The problem with that is that very often the method and the effect are so close together that even if the caveman did a perfect false transfer, a retention rock false transfer, and he shows that it's gone, it doesn't take a genius to figure out it's in the other hand. I mean, is it just me, or is there anybody else in this room that has ever made a quarter vanish for a kid, and then they say, oh, it's in your other hand? Right, it's never happened to me either, but in theory, it could. So I'm thinking, rather than use the method to accomplish the effect, what if you were to use the method to reconfirm a false belief that the audience already has? There's a subtle difference there. If I say, here's a trick with a rubber ball. It's a rubber ball trick. Watch closely. I use the power of the mind to condense the molecular structure, and it turns it into a solid ball that doesn't bounce. You can use a billiard ball. You can use anything solid. Now, this is a solid rubber ball that does not bounce. It's called the bounce, no bounce balls. One bounces, one doesn't. They look the same. But if you take this ball that does not bounce, although it's made of rubber, and you do this, that is not an effect. Nobody ever says to me when I do that, oh, that's amazing. How did you make that rubber ball bounce? That's not an effect, right? But if you take something that obviously does not bounce, like, say, for example, oh, I was thinking a glass. Anyway, I think I have a glass. I'd like a glass. A heavy solid glass. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. This one. There, look at this, look at this. So that obviously does not bounce. So here's my point. If you do this and you bounce a rubber ball, that is not an effect because people expect rubber balls to bounce. But if you bounce the glass, that is an effect. And it's exactly the same method. All you do is you pretend to throw the object downward. You stomp your foot when it reaches its lowest point. You turn your hand secretly palm up under the table and you throw it in the air and you catch it with both hands. So you do this and you do that. The difference is, even though the method's exactly the same, when you do it with something that they think bounces, there's no effect, which is good for you because there's no heat either. If I have a solid billiard ball, I normally have like a solid billiard ball, and you bounce, you say, here's a trick with a rubber ball. Anybody who believes that that's a rubber ball will have already deceived themselves. They already believe something that's not true. The game's over. The fact that you bounce it and you catch it, then nobody's surprised by that. And then you use the power of the mind to change the rubber into something solid, like, you know, whatever billiard balls are made out of. And it's great. So you can use the secret method to reconfirm a false belief that the audience has. Now, here's a good thing. If you want to do this with the bounce, no bounce balls, two balls, they look the same, they feel the same. The difference is one bounces, one does not bounce. Here's what you do. So here's a strange thing. It's a rubber ball, but it doesn't bounce. Oh, don't use a close-up mat. In the same way that you can throw a brick against a bed mattress, that will bounce because of the surface, not because of the brick. Make sure the table is solid. So here's a funny thing. It's a rubber ball, but it doesn't bounce. I don't know why. It's broken. You hand that to somebody. Now, you just switched. So here's the one that doesn't bounce. Here's the one that does bounce. So you bounce this, and it doesn't bounce. And you say, here, hold on to this at the tips of your fingers. So the spectator believes he's holding a ball that does not bounce, but it does. Then you say, I have another ball the same as that. It looks the same, but actually this one's quite different. This one bounces. Great. You hand that to a second person. Well, you're using the fake bounce move because this one does not bounce. So right now, here's where you are. This person thinks he's holding a ball that does not bounce, but it does. This person's holding a ball he thinks does bounce, but it doesn't. You're completely finished with the dirty work, and they don't know what the effect is going to be. So you say, I'm going to take the bounce out of this ball, put it over there, and this person drops this one, it doesn't bounce anymore. They drop this one, it bounces great, and you walk away clean with a transference of bounce. That's the effect, a transference of bounce. So if there are any questions, now's the time, because I really have only one more trick I'd like to show you, and I'd like to finish with this because it's my #1 favorite trick in the whole wide world. So if you've been holding out on any questions, now is the time. Otherwise, I'd like to show you a completely impromptu trick, always ready to go, anytime, any place. Wait just a second, let me set it up. That was a joke. It's completely impromptu. Oh, wait, just a second, let me set it up. Any questions on anything since the beginning of time? Well, then I'd like to say, my, how time flies when we're having a blast. It's hard to believe that 4.5 hours have just zipped by. But I do have time for one more mystery. It's my personal favorite. I do this for myself at home in front of the mirror. And I laugh and laugh. And then I get dressed. Now watch closely. I used to do this with 2 pieces of white rope. They were exactly identical in every way until finally I realized nobody had any idea what I was doing. So now for contrastular purposes, I use different colors. It's a much better mystery. Watch the white rope very, very closely. All I have to do is make a fake knot. This looks like an ordinary knot, but it's a very special magician's tricky knot. It is known as the amazing acrobatic knot. And if you were going to watch it all, now would be a good time. I twirl the ropes together. I say the secret magic words, which I must say silently to myself. That keeps them secret. And that causes the knot to jump off the white rope over to the red, which in itself is quite a feat. Although I seem to be the only one who thinks so. That's always a good line. I love to do that every chance I get. Usually when I do this, after the thunderous applause finally subsides, there's always somebody who says, I know how that works. That's a trick. Sure. I say, well, yeah, but let's not ruin it for everyone else. They think it's a phony knot. You put it on the rope when nobody's looking, you slide it off the other end. Well, to anybody who thinks that, I simply say, yeah. It's easy to slide the knot off the rope, but very, very difficult. Very difficult. Hold the rope like this, the knot like that, and stick it back on. And you know, my friends, when you got the power of love in your soul, miracles can happen. In my pocket, I've got some magic dust. Magic dust. Watch. Oh! That turns it into a sliding knot because I could slide it out of here for yourself right here. Look at here. If I blow gently, that fuse welds the rope and the knot together, blending them as one. Yes, it is true. It's the mystery of the amazing acrobatic knot. And how do you finish? Clean, man. You finish clean. Yeah, clean, Oh, yeah, Oh, yeah. Wait, no. I want to explain how this trick is done. I'll show you. I'll show you how this trick works. It's a great trick, This was invented by Pavel. I saw him perform this on the Ed Sullivan Show back in 1967. 1967. He did this, Ed Sullivan Show, black and white TV, just a little kid, and for years, I wanted to know how this was done. Nobody knew. I explained the effect to magicians at the Magic Club meeting. Nobody knew. Then really, 10 years later, I was at a little magic shop. I think it was Seattle, Washington, or Portland, Oregon. And I saw this little pamphlet, like 4 pages, stapled in the middle. And it's like lecture notes or something. And there it was. It's like, oh man, that feeling when I finally got to see how this was done. Little did I know then that someday I would meet Pavel. I'd actually buy the manufacturing rights from him. He was so happy, and I was the first one to ever offer him money for one of his tricks, that he gave me a really good deal, because everybody else would just steal it. So here's the deal. Regular white rope, fold it into thirds. I like to bundle it up and just tie a simple overhand knot like that, and that just keeps it together. Now, I don't like to waste my pocket space. I really like having empty pockets, if at all possible. So even a knot, I don't want to have that in my pocket, so I just thread it onto the end like that and pull it towards the knot there. And as long as you keep it moving, nobody's going to say, hey, what's that extra white knot doing threaded on there? Move like a cat. Yeah, like the cat. Now, this is important. This is a 5-inch section of the red and white rope. You want to tie any knot that uses up the entire white section. In other words, please do not tie a single overhand knot and then say, hey man, What a jip. That is not it. That's not going to work. You don't have to tie the hunter bow knot. You could simply hold where the red and white sections join and wrap this around, 3 or 4 times, however many times you need to, and then just pop the end through the loop. With a little bit of adjusting as you tighten the knot, you can hide where the red and white sections of the rope join together, and that looks perfectly fine. The best way, though, I think, is to tie the hunter bow knot. If you've never tied the hunter bow knot, this is what it is. It's tying a bow, just like you would tie a shoestring or a package, the bow, right? Now, when you tie a bow, one of the ends will be on your side, the opposite end will be on the opposite side, away from you. Both of the ends have got to go through the loops from the same direction. Now, it doesn't matter if they both go through this way or if they both go through the other way, but they do have to both go through from the same direction. So that means one goes through the normal way, and the other end has got to come to the opposite side first before it goes through. So now they're both going through from the same direction. This is a slip knot. This is the GW Hunter bow knot. If you tighten it and you hide where the red and white sections join, to me, that looks really good. It looks like a fake white knot that's threaded onto a piece of red rope. That's what I want the audience to think. So I bundle this up so that this knot is at the top of the bundle, like that. I really don't want to be fishing around in my pocket trying to find the knot. So make sure it's at the top. Put that in a pocket where you can get to it quickly with your left hand. You're ready to go. Trick is this, you bring this out. So you really have nothing except one piece of rope in your pocket. You take this out of your bag or wherever you carry your props. My wife is a magician. She was a magician long before we met, and she gave me a hot tip on this. I used to just finger palm this knot and pull it off like that, and then untie it. And she said, no, no, no. When I do this trick, and she did, this is great. She said she finger palms the knot first while she's holding it in the bundle. And just in the act of untying the knot, that pulls the end through the loop and through the knot, and so you're automatically in the same position. So I said, I'm glad I thought of that. Now here's a funny thing. I feel the same way about cups and balls or crumpled up dollar bills, a lot of stuff. I just don't feel comfortable holding something in my hand unless that hand is holding something else that's visible to the audience. This is why the magic wand was invented. It helps to conceal palmed objects. I could, if I'm like this, even for a couple seconds, I feel vulnerable. I feel, they're looking at my hand and I'm palming something. But as soon as you add this, it's like, I could stand like this for an hour and feel perfectly fine. As soon as I take it, So, watch the routine. You'll see it's choreographed such that you'll never have anything hidden in your hand unless that hand is holding something else that's visible to the audience. So as soon as I unbundle the rope, I feel comfortable. This hand goes here, grab the other knot. As soon as I pull that out, it's in the right orientation because, you grab the knot, it's ready to go. First thing you do is you tie a slip knot. Any method for tying a slip knot will work. There are many different ways. Here's as good a method as any. You make a loop with the end of the rope, but the loop goes away from your body. Not towards your body like this, but away from your body. You hold where the ropes cross. You reach through the loop, you grab the end and you pull it towards you, and the tip of your left thumb pushes in. So basically all you're doing is you're tying a slip knot around the tip of your thumb. Now make sure that that's a pretty small bite and flatten it out. I mean, you want it to look like an overhand knot. People know. I know. People know. If you do this and you say, and there's a nice knot. Crocheting is based on that. People know that if you pull that, it's going to go. So make it look like an overhand knot. Flatten it out if you can, so it looks pretty good. Now, because that's a slip knot, remember all this is up here. You grab the end, you twirl it. Just by twirling the ropes, the palm up left hand is going to reach for the opposite ends. That automatically takes the slip knot out. It's gone. As soon as you touch it, it just dissolves. Now, you bring up the ends to say the secret magic words, and here's a hot tip. It doesn't matter what you say. You could say anything, but it's your reason for bringing the hands together to say, I say many different things, and it almost always works. But that's the reason to bring them together. The right hand throws the right ends down, keeping the knot. But remember, vulnerable. Grab one end from there and untwirl it. This is the original Pavel handling. That's how he would secretly turn the ropes over end for end. You can get rid of this. At this point in Pavel's handling, he would untie the knot, and that's the end of the trick. But I believe that since the audience suspects that's probably a fake white knot threaded onto a piece of red rope, you might as well play with them for a little while longer. That's why I added all this extra stuff. So this is what you do next. You show the rope, you show the knot, you grab the knot, you pretend to slide it off, and then you pretend to throw it back on. I love doing this stuff. And really, it's not so hard. You have the extra knot here. You thumb clip the rope here. The hand is palm towards the audience because you want a little bit of distance between your hand and the knot. This hand secretly grabs this knot. You're going to fold a pleat of rope, just a little fold, and put the knot in your left hand. So the audience doesn't know about that. And then you take this other knot and you hold this other knot into what I like to call the secret grip. Huh? The secret grip, no, this is important. The secret grip is the middle finger and thumb. Middle finger and thumb, the index finger goes behind the rope and it presses the rope against the knot. So from here it almost looks like it's threaded on, but you're really just holding it in front, like this. And then you slide it off, so it almost looks like it's threaded. So that's the secret grip. Now remember that little pleat of rope? What happens? You take this, you drop it here, you throw it there, and you drop this. Now the timing is important. You want to do it so it looks like it just goes there. If you drop it too soon, it looks really bad. Hey, okay, oh, thank you. Right? It looks bad. It looks worse if you drop it too late. You say, okay, I put it over there, and okay, thank you. Just practice it in front of the mirror. Remember that thing I showed you with the sponge ball and with the coins? You put your thumb on it, you turn your hand over, it doesn't fall. I'll tell you, it's a beautiful, beautiful technique. It works with many things. So for this, there's the rope, there's the knot. It goes like that. Even the knot. As soon as I do this, I feel vulnerable. Grab the opposite end. You're clean. Now you're ready for the big finish. The big finish is you reach into the pocket for the magic dust. That's how you get rid of the knot. And this part is great for kids. I love doing this for kids. I take magic dust, watch, and it jumps. Now, of course you just flick it. But when you do this, one of two things will happen. Either the kid will see that you flicked it, and hey, you flicked it. I saw you flick it. In case that's funny. That's good fun for everybody. They love catching the magic. You flicked it. Flick me. Flick you. No, you know what I'm saying. It's just fun. But another thing, what if they don't? Sometimes they don't see you flick it. Then you get a bonus effect. So take it. It's all good. Now the last part is my favorite part of all. This is where you slide the knot down to the other side. I did it this other way for years. This is the Jack Miller sliding knot trick. Aldo Colombini has a whole routine based on this. What you do is you have a knot, you hold the rope a little bit above the knot with the thumb and first finger only. Your other hand is holding the opposite end of the rope. It looks like you grab the knot and you slide it to the other side. But what you do is very tricky. You grab the knot, sure, with the left hand, but secretly in grabbing the knot, you let go of this end and you grab onto the other end. So really, it's from here, grab that, switch to that side. So that's how you turn the rope over end for end, and it goes to there. Now at regular speed, that actually looks pretty convincing, as if you're sliding the knot to the other side. So that's how I did it for years. One day in, I think it was Tucson, Arizona, I said, any questions? Really, a guy, he was like 10 years old, little boy says, yes, I have a question. And his question was, do you have to cover the knot when you slide it to the other side with your fist? And I said, why, of course you do, young man. That's the Jack Miller technique. He's been doing that since the 60s. But I went up to the room that night at the hotel, and I said, that is a great question that nobody has ever asked me before. Do you have to cover the knot when you slide it? And the answer actually is no. The secret grip. What if you hold the rope here, you grab the knot, but you keep that knot in full view with the middle finger on top, thumb on the bottom, index finger in the back, but keep the knot facing the audience. They can actually apparently see it slide down to the other side. So it's basically the same thing as doing this, but you don't hide it with your fist. You let it stay in view. And remember, the audience already saw you do this just a moment before. The difference is, a moment before you had an extra knot. Now you're doing it without anything extra, which means you get this extra few seconds of magic with nothing hidden in your hands. For the big finish, you can either physically untie the knot, which is what Pavel did, or if you use the hunter bow knot, I actually like this moment where that knot dissolves into the rope. And then you hand this rope out for examination. And trust me when I tell you, people are going to be pulling on this and have absolutely no idea how it's done. And as always, you walk away like this, man. You walk away clean. Always walk away clean. Well, I thank you very much. I would love to take this opportunity to thank you one and all for your kind attention. And you know, too many years in Las Vegas. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I've never felt so much genuine love for any one single group of people. And you know, my friends, that comes from the bottom of the old thumper. And if you've had half as much fun as I've had, then I've had twice as much fun as you. Thank you, and good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give me the Johnny Carson, the Johnny Carson thing.
I love it.
Hey, good. May I join you?
Come on over here. One more time.
Man.
Right?
Oh, man.
Have a seat. Get comfortable. Oh, man. We have quite. Look at these. I've got no cards. You're going to be all right?
Oh, I'm good. That's hard work.
All right.
I used to be your age, boy. Those were the days.
You know, that probably wasn't long ago. I just look really good for my age.
Oh, look great. Wow. Yeah, no.
That was weird.
Yeah,
all right. So what a career. I mean, wow.
And still going.
And still going.
Yeah, okay.
And going very well.
Oh, it's good. I love it.
Bunny.
You know what? I love it. It's all good.
So 82 was the FISM win.
That was the FISM win. Yeah, there were other wins before that, but that was the big one.
So how long before that had you been doing this stuff?
Oh, Gewalt. I started when I was 7, and I'm 58 now. So now I can officially say, well, I've been doing this magic for more than 50 years.
Over half a century.
Yeah.
That sounds impressive.
Yeah, it sounds impressive. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget, the Two of Diamonds is my favorite card. It's always been my favorite card. The reason for that is that's the card that got me started in magic. My very first trick was a friend of the family, just a hobbyist magician came by, and he did the Svengali deck. And of course, the force card was the Two of Diamonds. And I was just 7 years old. I was so amazed. I mean, I still remember the feeling. He flipped them. They were just regular cards, like I used to build houses of cards with. And then all of a sudden, they're all the Two of Diamonds. I was so blown away that he gave it to me as a gift. And I remember the feeling. I'd be in my room, and I'd hold this deck, and I'd go like this, and I'd go like that. And I said, they're normal? They're all the same. It's like, that's just great. And then I looked at it and said, oh, I see, they're going by 2 at a time. Oh, these are shorter than the other ones. Oh. And I was just fascinated with the method. So.
You think that's led to your creative?
Oh, absolutely. That was definitely. And then, you know what? And it's almost like the Lone Ranger or something. It's like, and I never had a chance to thank him. I don't know who he was. I think his name was Harold Benton.
Okay.
I never, in all these years in going to magic conventions, never came across him. But I would love to have said, oh, by the way, I was that little kid that you introduced to magic, and I've been doing it ever since.
I wonder how many stories there are like that out there. People
I'll
who
bet
have
there's a
affected
lot.
some of these big names in magic.
And they don't know. They never know.
Wow, that's great. So you've been doing this for 51 years. What do you think about the state of magic right now?
It's great, and it's very scary. I mean, it's different. Of course, it's different.
Yeah,
it's different. It's funny. It's great, and it's frightening at the same time. I mean, it's great because, boy, I remember. You know, we had to learn from books. We'd learn one move from a guy, an old man, usually at the magic club, and what he'd say is, "I'll teach you this one move, but then that's all I'm going to teach you. And you go home, and next month you come back to the meeting, and you show me what you've practiced. And if you do it well enough, I'll teach you one more thing. And if you don't do it well enough, then I'll teach you what you're doing wrong with it. And then you keep doing it until you get it right." So the information was very hard to come by.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's a whole different world. I've heard horror stories about people. Well, here's a tip. I got a tip.
Oh yeah.
If you're doing a trick and you've got a pretty techno-savvy audience, don't call the trick what it really is. Don't call it the ambitious card if you're doing the ambitious card. Because you know what? There's people, and this has been happening for 10 years or so now, who have these phone things. And they're, oh, ambitious card, huh? Oh, it's called a double lift. Oh, you're doing a double lift.
Yeah.
right during your
That's
performance.
a brilliant tip. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, but if you say it's the amazing rising card, they'll say, oh, you're using thread. It's like, that's not magnets. It's like, no.
That's good. So what would you call the ambitious card then?
I would call it the card that likes to be on top, or the card that's always on top, or something, or I'd just say the magic 9 of spades trick. Because, people, one of the good things about magic is it's very real for the moment that it's happening. And I mean, I'm sure you've had this happen.
Absolutely.
Somebody comes to you, months later, oh, you're the guy that did the 9 of clubs trick. And you're thinking, 9 of clubs trick? What's the 9 of clubs? Oh, it's an ambitious card. Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, you'll be in the 9 of clubs trick. Yeah, why didn't you say so? But for them, it only happened that one time, and it just happened to be a 9 of clubs, and so it was very real for them for that moment, and that's how they remember it.
So is that what's scary about magic now, is the fact that they can go and find
Oh, yes, that's the scary part. It's too easily accessible. And which means also is that you know what, I'm telling you something you don't know. The vast majority of the information out there on YouTube and stuff is just terrible, terrible, terrible. I mean, I have nothing against teenagers. I was a teenager myself many years ago. And you know what? But, you know, if you can't do something, you know, it's not a good idea to teach it. Like, you know, coin tricks with mentalism and stuff like that. You know, but you know, I mean, I've seen. I'll tell you a terrible example. Is Ricky Jay? I think is great, and he's always been great. And I remember when he did the Queen Assembly on Doug Henning's show. I mean, he got a tremendous response. And Doug Henning was doing all these grand illusions with and Ricky Jay's out there with the deck of cards. And so anyway, he does this trick and it's on YouTube. Well, I guess when you're watching a trick on YouTube, there's other tricks that are similar or things with similar titles or something. So right next to, after watching Ricky Jay perform this beautiful handling of this assembly, you can see how it works. And you press the button and there's this kid who's saying, well, there are these cards, and he kind of does this, and then he has a thing where he sort of does that. Not doing any of it well, just butchering it, but exposing a beautiful piece, and that hurts. That's you know, that hurts.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
What do you do? I don't know.
I mean,
it's scary.
I know there's, for me, when I perform stuff, I know there's especially younger kids that know what's going on. There's always an event where there's a few people there that have gotten on the internet and they've learned this stuff. I personally think the best thing to do is just be super entertaining. And I've mentioned that before in
that makes
a couple
sense.
times I've had a chance to lecture here, is just be entertaining. Even if they know the trick, if it's fun to watch, we're ahead of the game.
I agree with you. And then they're even your allies. They say, oh, I know how it works, but boy, you did it well. And boy, I didn't see. And they'll talk after the show, when did you palm the card? I say, well, you know, I practiced.
And
I didn't see it.
How do we know we're not talking to the next Daryl?
You never know. You never know. So, you know, you're right. It's all good.
So, well, then let's talk, because this leads into a question I wanted to ask you. Try not to sound weird here. You brighten up a room when you do magic. You are always super. I just lost him. You fell asleep.
Sorry.
You're always. I mean, you're fun to watch. You can tell you're having fun up there. Is that you? Is that an exaggeration of you?
It's an exaggeration. It's my best me, you know, and that's true because I do love magic. I mean, come on. I mean, what's there not to love about it? It's just great. And to get paid and to have the opportunity to do it for people, it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
So sometimes, I mean, if I'm tired, I mean, I have my moments when I'm tired and stuff, but it's like, wait a minute. Ken Brook used to say, well, it's better than digging roads. Yeah. And it's true. You could be working out in the streets and, you know, in the hot sun and all that stuff. Say, no, you're doing magic. You're having fun for people.
So what tips do you have if, let's say I've got an event and I'm not feeling great, I don't feel like working. What would you say to get me? I know adrenaline itself helps a lot, but is there anything that?
Well, you know, Howard Thurston, he was famous for, I love my audience, you know, jumping up and down backstage and getting all pumped up. I believe in that. Yeah. I think that you just do it. You know, you're doing it and you get yourself all excited about it. And just think about how lucky you are. Even if you're tired, just think about how lucky you are to be able to do this. And it is a gift. You know, magic is a power. I know it sounds phony, but magic is a power. Absolutely. And you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. You can use it to make people humiliated and embarrassed and put down and feel insecure. And a lot of magicians do that. You know, I mean, they get bullied at school, so they say, well, I'm going to learn tricks and I'm going to be, you know, the smart one or the clever one. And, you know, they build themselves up by putting other people down. And that's it's using the power for evil. It's true. Or, you know, I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've been waiting in line at the post office and there's a kid crying because, you know, and I say, hey, look at this, and I do a quick little magic thing. And boy, they love it. Yeah. And then it makes you feel good. You say, wow, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that how powerful it can be.
Yeah.
Alex is asking, and this kind of fits with what we're talking about. He's having trouble getting the reaction he wants from his audience. How would you, what kind of tips would you give him to improve his performance?
Well, boy, and without seeing it, it's really a tough thing.
Right.
Like, first and foremost, I think you have to know what the effect is. What is the effect? I mean, I've seen a lot of effects where at the end of it, I say, I don't know what the effect was. Well, I had the red-backed kings, and I put them in there, and you signed the jokers, and then the card box was empty, but then, you know, it's like, I know, but what was the effect? What happened that's apparently magical? Sometimes things get so convoluted, you know, we get bogged down with technique that you kind of lose track of what the effect is. And I've always thought the idea of the effect should be very easy to explain, very simple to describe with one quick sentence. The coins went through the table. That's an effect. The rings linked together. That's an effect. You know, you say, well, the lady was cut in half. That's not an effect. Anybody can do that. The lady was restored. Oh, well, yeah, that's an effect. Oh, now you're talking. So yeah, if the effect is simple and direct, and then you focus on the effect, you know, there were some magicians like Francis Carlyle that were masters of milking the effect. I call it cow magic. Magic you can milk. It's like it's so crystal clear what the effect is that you can put all of your attention on that, and there's no way the audience can get distracted. I think that would help. Make sure there's no confusion.
Yeah. You know, should he videotape himself?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before videotape, we used to do it with audio tape. And oh, that's a great idea. If you can audio tape or videotape every one of your performances, very often the audience will give you some wonderful lines and wonderful bits that you could set up. You say, oh, why did that happen? Oh, well, because we were in this position at that time, so it was just a natural thing to say. Well, if you can recreate that scenario and make that happen more regularly, it's like, man, you're just making your show better.
Yeah.
And the audience is writing for you. But you're right, you've got to be able to see what the audience sees. And you know, if you're practicing and all that you're showing the audience is the top of your head, and you're busy looking at your cards or something, that's no good. But if you have a video performance of your show, you say, oh, geez, I didn't even realize, I didn't look at anybody once.
Yeah.
I never took the time to look up at the audience. You know, I was so busy watching myself doing stuff.
First time you videotape yourself, it can shock you. It can shock you to see.
But in a helpful way, though.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Like good.
Well, let's stay on the shows. I had a lot of
Yeah,
questions
yeah,
about
yeah,
shows.
let's go. Ooh, this is good.
How do you handle hecklers? Do you get hecklers? Do you have any heckler
I
stories?
used to when I was, yeah.
That's from Lucas, wants to know that.
You know what? Hecklers. Here's the first thing. I mean, Leipzig used to say, you know, they'd rather be fooled by a gentleman. And that's true. If you come across as challenging, then you're asking for hecklers. You're looking for trouble where none would otherwise exist. But if you're having fun and that enthusiasm is contagious and they're having fun, what's there to heckle? I mean, really, what is there to heckle? It's like, you know, you don't go heckle somebody who's having a great time sharing something with you, but you do heckle somebody that says, I am great and you are scum, and I'm going to show you why.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, yeah, well, I don't think you're so great after all, and let me show you why. And then they're butting heads and there's conflict, and that's no good.
So don't cause somebody to be a heckler in the first place.
Oh, yeah, don't give them any reason to heckle. Because if you're, oh, here's a funny thing, here's a story. I don't get hecklers, but sometimes I'll do a trick where the effect is you make them the magician. You know, like Out of This World, for example. I have a version which I'm very happy with, and this guy went out of his way to try to mess up my little trick. And guess what?
Don't you love that?
No, but guess what? I let him.
Yeah.
He's not messing up my trick. He's messing up his own trick because, you know, he was going to be the, you know, the center of attention. He was the one that was going to be the hero. So I just let him do whatever he wanted to do, and at the end they were all mixed up, and I said, well, I guess you don't have the power after all. Hey, let me try it with somebody over here. This nice person who seems to, you know, put out good energy, you know.
Right.
And it worked like a charm. It's like, oh, well, I guess I should have shut up. I guess I should have just watched the show and
I
had a
don't
good
understand
time.
why people do that. You get that I don't get it a lot.
Yeah.
But every once in a while. And it's always a guy.
And there's different kinds of hecklers too. I mean, you know, there's some hecklers that really, I believe, you know, like same with comedy clubs, they believe they're actually adding to the value of the show.
Yeah.
And they're not. You know, they don't know that you know exactly what you're saying and what you're doing. It's not as improvisational as it might appear. So it's not like they're giving you stuff to work with. They're messing up your timing, and they're, you know, they're just taken away from the show. I have funny, but I used to work in Newport Beach, and it was a pretty rich area. And I'll be honest, I'm brutally honest. Some people say to a fault, which I can't possibly imagine. But really, these rich old ladies were talking during my stand-up show, and it's like, and I wouldn't look at them and say, "Hey, shut up, ladies!" You know, you know, are you too rich to be polite? Or you don't do that. But I would say, what? There's some annoying buzzing kind of sound and I don't look them at the eyes. It seems to be coming from this general air. And it's, well, I don't hear it now, but boy, that was annoying. Anyway, and you just go on with the show, and so they're kind of been told that they better be quiet, or I'm not going to be afraid to bring it to everybody's attention, but without looking them in the eye and pointing my finger in their face and all that kind of stuff. So there's always ways.
That's good. A question that just came in.
Yes.
What's been your favorite gig ever? Wow,
That's a great, you know what? It was Magic, well, the Magic Castle's a great gig, but my favorite ever was Caesar's Magical Empire.
Oh, I love that place.
I loved that room because it was, you know what? It was great. 6 shows a night, 6 nights a week. And I just loved it because it was 18 minutes. because they had 20 minutes, then they had to have 5 minutes to empty out the room to, clean up the glasses and napkins and then refill it. So you're doing a show, and every show was the same. It was exactly 18 minutes, exactly to the second. And I had it down because I got one of these. Anyway, the story is, the reason that was such a great experience is because as soon as you do one show, literally 5 minutes later, you're doing the same show again and again and again and again. And 1 minute, you are a god. It's like, they are just not paying me enough to work at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Doesn't last long.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, it's like, oh God, I should just give up this business. I'm just terrible. It just never got off the ground. And it's a funny thing because it's the same show, word for word, the same pattern, everything. It's just the energy was different.
Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about.
I'm
You're talking about your own show.
Your own feeling. It's like, wow, I'm doing a really good job. I should get paid more.
Yeah.
And then literally 5 minutes later, the next show, it's like it just never gets off the ground. It's like,
Same
I
show.
should get out of this.
Same
Who
jokes.
am I kidding?
And a different reaction.
Yeah.
You think that's, can you...
It's humbling. It's a very humbling
Yeah.
experience.
Can you blame the audience?
You know what? I don't know.
Not blame them, but is it just...
It's like different audiences have different energy. I mean, you know, it's like you could actually close your eyes and walk into a room and you can feel it.
You just know.
You know, it's the ambient noise, it's the body language, it's the nonverbal communication. I mean, it's all there. Either you tune into it or, some people say it's, I like to think of this as hooks. Who was it? Elmsley, maybe? But when you're doing a show, it's like you're putting out these hooks, like you're fishing. And you say, I'll put out this hook here and this hook over there and this hook over there. And somebody's going to grab the bait and take it. And then you play with them and somebody else is going to do something over here. So now you're interacting with the people. And if you know your magic so well, you don't even have to think about it. Like the rope routine. I mean, I love that trick because it's like I don't have to think about anything. It just happens. And 100% of my attention can be on the audience. And if somebody has a funny laugh or something happens, or you just play with it and you make it real.
That's a good point. Knowing your stuff inside and out so that you can focus on. I've seen performers that you'll hear something funny. As a spectator, you'll hear somebody say something funny and they don't break their script.
Yeah.
And I think they miss out on
During
a lot.
my last trip to ancient India, I saw a Hindu face. And it's like, what? And then the kid's 14. It's like, what do you? Oh, you've got to be aware of what's going on. That's so important.
To get to know a crowd, I love to do, if I'm doing a stand-up show, I love to do strolling beforehand, maybe an hour. Because that way I feel like once you're on stage, they're like, oh, that's our buddy that was just hanging out with us.
You
doing
act as
stuff.
your own opening act,
Yeah.
and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And you know who reacts strongly, and you know who to play to, and all.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you do that a lot? Is that? Would you prefer to do that as opposed to just going in and?
You know what? My favorite thing now is just to do a 30-minute show, and just start from a cold audience. In fact, I don't mind opening for other people. I love it. I mean, a couple of times where the whole audience, I was the fifth act in, and the audience was just dead, and everybody's looking at each other like, oh, I gotta go up in two more. And I would say, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And I'd just go out there and we just have fun and get them jumping up and down. And then I walk. And when I'm done with my 10 minutes, it's like, okay, they're all yours.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank you, dear. Oh God, thank you.
Does it feel good?
It's wonderful. But that's another example of you don't have to think about what you're doing. If you're really concentrating on your method and your moves and your technique and your timing and your stuff, that's attention that you're taking away from your audience. And I really believe your audience should get 100% of your
So then how do you add new material?
Oh,
if you're
wow.
afraid to...
You don't. You do the same thing. No, except what you learn in lectures. Now that's a whole different thing. No, that stuff is priceless. You know what? It's hard to add new material. And when you do, of course, you don't open with it, you don't close with it, but you put it in a place, your opening is going to work and get them to a certain level. Then you have some leeway, because if you drop down a couple of notches when you're trying your new thing, doesn't matter. I mean, it's not the end of the world, because you're going to pick them right up again with your next piece. So if you know that you've got certain material that you can rely on and depend on that's always going to work for you, that's priceless.
Right.
Then you can introduce your new stuff.
So what do you do? Sorry, I keep saying I'm saying I because I know there's a lot of people out there in the same boat as me. I've got 2 shows coming up this week that are repeat from last year. Has a year been long enough? I've got a couple new things in there, but I do my stuff that I do because it works.
It's a two-edged sword. Because it's true. What if you were to do all new material? You think you're doing your audience a favor. It's like, hey, you had me last year, but everything is new.
Yeah.
And you'll get people that'll say, oh, but you didn't do that thing with the thing, and you didn't do the thing where you got the person from the audience, and you did that interaction. And they want to see it, because sometimes people will come They've seen you before. They know what to expect. They know what they want to see. And they'll bring a friend. They say, oh, you got to see this one thing that he does. So it's good if you add a couple of new things, but have your standard stuff that you can rely on.
Brian Regan is one of my favorite stand-up comedians. And the few times I've seen him, he does encores where he comes out and people yell out bits that they want him to do.
Wow.
That's impressive for a comedian.
Great, yeah.
A band comes out and does it, but
yeah, but a punchline is such a it's a special thing that they know in advance where you're going.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you lose that.
And they holler out for his Pop-Tart bit.
But that's great, isn't that? I mean, that he's
yeah.
so well known for certain bits that they actually demand it.
Well, with him, it goes back to the entertaining part. Is he can tell this story that I've heard before, but it's fun to watch him. He's animated, and it's just, I think that's a huge part of it. And I think, like I said, that's you. And every time I've seen you on stage, you're fun to watch.
It's getting hotter and hotter these days. You know what? I still love it. I might not be as fast, and I'm not as effort, but I love it. It's just a great thing to be able to do. Yeah.
So you've really, somebody else asked us, I can't remember, I'd like to say their names.
God, those are real ones, aren't they?
Yeah, those people are loving it.
I want to name my first child. What is that? Whoa, jeez. Oi, Gewalt.
Let's see, everybody's saying what a great lecture has been. You've released so many effects on video. How do you choose what you're going to do day from day?
Oh, that's a funny thing because I do very few of those things. I mean, I know I have 10 tricks. Didn't you read the story about how many tricks do you know? Well, I know 6. How many do you know? I know 100. But the guy who knows the 6 knows the 6. I do very little, but what I do, I can do in my sleep. So all this stuff from all these videos, they're great. It's great material, but the only time I really watch them is when I need something new. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons I put stuff on video too, is because if I forget something, I say, well, I don't want to read it again. I don't want to learn it over. Oh, wait, I got that on video. Just pop it in. And like the Fuller Doolers, I think there's some wonderful material on there.
Absolutely.
And I still use a lot of it to this day. It's like, oh, yeah, that's a good trick.
So should we not feel bad when we do a strolling gig or we walk out of there and it's, I've done 6 tricks tonight. I cannot believe they paid me to do 6 tricks over and over.
Wonderful.
That's wonderful. It feels great.
Wonderful, yeah. I tried it. It didn't work, but I mean, it depends on the audience. If you're doing a fundraiser and it's a 5-hour fundraiser and people are going to be coming in and out of a big ballroom or something, you could literally, do the same trick all night long. I didn't quite pull it off, but I wanted to do the 3-card sequence of the ambitious card as my only trick all night long. So all I did was I'd have 3 cards and I'd pull the bottom card down and turn the other 2 over. But I did it like 500 times. But it didn't quite work. Because that 3-minute thing is, the 3-card sequence is only a couple minutes, and that's really not enough if you're supposed to, mingle with everybody.
Right.
But it's kind of fun to be, and you can do that. And I think that's a great thing. One trick, over and over again.
Yeah. Well, then good. I won't feel it. If Daryl doesn't feel it, why would I feel bad about doing the same trick over and over all night? All right. A lot of people want to know. I get this question, or I've gotten this question quite a few times the past few weeks. Creative process. Whether it's routines or a new trick, what is your creative process? Or are you done creating? Are you at this point?
No, far from done. It's not as hard as some people think. It's like, here's a great example, like that ambitious card thing. I remember I was a teenager when I came up with that gimmick, because I said, I want to show the ambitious card, and I want to put it in the middle, and I want that card to come to the top. Really, if those are the conditions, it's got to go through the middle. It's got to go through a tunnel or a hole. There's no other way.
So it came to you pretty quick?
It did, but if you set the conditions and you're very strict on the conditions, I say, well, I want it, it's not a duplicate card, it's not pretending to go in the middle, it really is the card, it really goes in the middle, and it really comes to the top, then the shortest distance from there to there is right through there. And it works that way with a lot of tricks. You just say, what do you want the effect to be? The effect has got to be crystal clear. And very often the method, there's several methods to choose from.
Yeah.
Then that's a good position, because then you get to pick out the best method. Because there's always advantages and disadvantages to every method. There's no such thing, I don't think, as the perfect method. Yeah. Otherwise it'd be real magic. There's got to be some flaw or some discrepancy or something. But fortunately, discrepancies in one method, there'll be different discrepancies in another method. So if you're doing something like the ambitious card, you're doing the same effect over and over again, but you're using all these different methods. By the end of it, there's really nothing solid for the audience to grab onto. If they think, well, he didn't really put it in the middle. Oh, but yes, he did because I saw it and he spread them. And well, but maybe it wasn't the same card. No, but it was because I saw it and I put it in. And you know, Max Malini used to do a vanishing silver dollar trick, and Di Vernon told me that Leipzig said to Vernon, I would happily give up everything I know in magic if I could get as much effect out of vanishing a coin as Max Malini. Now, what a thing to say. Can you imagine that? Because Max Malini would do, he'd make a coin vanish. You know, some magicians, they do this and they do this and they keep it in the other hand. And other magicians do this and they throw it up their sleeve. But when Max Malini makes a coin disappear, it just disappears. And so when people describe that later, they say, oh, I saw this great magician. He made a coin disappear. Oh, yeah, that's nothing. He just put it up his sleeve. No, he told us about that. That's how some magicians do it, but he didn't do that. His sleeves are rolled up. Oh, well, he probably just pretended and kept it in the other hand. No, he didn't do that either. So these methods, Malini would eliminate these as like the false paths and stuff like that before he even did the effect. But then he would do the effect once, and they'll never forget it. It just disintegrated.
Yeah.
And that's pretty strong stuff. Can you imagine that? Give up everything you know to get as much effect out of vanishing a single coin.
One coin.
As Max Malini. It's like, phew.
It's good.
Yeah.
You just mentioned Vernon. Zombie Magic wants to know if you have any funny Vernon stories.
Yes, the trick that fooled Di Vernon 7 times. It's true. There's one trick. This was when I finally turned 21. I mean, it was a running gag with Bill Larson. Because, you know, you can't work the Magic Castle till you're 21. And he saw me work when I was 16 at a convention, and then 17, and then 18. And we'd see each other every year, and he said, well, how old are you again? I said, well, I'm getting closer. So finally I was 21, I got to work at the castle, and usually Vernon would see the show once, somebody he hadn't seen before. But he came in 7 times, which is a lot of times for him to see the same show. And it was because the last trick was an absolutely impossible, you know, discovery of a card. I mean, very fair conditions. And once again, it's just a card was selected and I found it. That's the effect. But the conditions were impossible. And Vernon had no idea. And it was something the idea I learned from one of his books. And so he came in, and it was Max Maven that said, you know, Vernon, you know, he's seeing the same show, or you must be fooling him with something. So at the end of the 7th show, I said, so is that last trick got you puzzled? And he says, it's very good, it's very good. And I told him what it was. I just said 2 words, and his eyes was like, very good, very good.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun. So that was a great moment. That was a wonderful moment. And meeting with Jimmy Grippo, this is a true story with Jimmy Grippo. I did the same trick. It was one of those tricks I'd save. And I did it for Jimmy Grippo. And there was this whole big table at the Magic Castle, and Jimmy was there with Jan, his brother. Vernon was there. I mean, Tony Giorgio, just a bunch. T.A. Waters. I mean, all these guys were there. And so I'm doing this impossible location for Jimmy Grippo. And I know his, you know, I've seen him on TV. I know kind of what he knows. And so he picks the card, and he's thinking, and I'm ready. I mean, I've got it under control. But it's too impossible. So he picks up the deck again, and he says, I forgot my card. And he looks through it, and then he closes the deck, right? And he gives it a quick overhand shuffle, and then he goes like this, and he puts the deck down. And I said, okay, he just overhand shuffle controlled it to the top. He did the one-handed top palm as he put the deck down. So here's the situation. I don't know what his card is, but I knew that I could have gotten it. But he didn't know for some reason what I was going to do, so he palmed out his own card. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting at the table, all these other magicians are here. Jimmy Grippo has his selected card in his right palm, and what am I going to do to finish this trick?
Do you think the other guys knew that he had it?
Some of them, maybe, not many. I don't think, maybe one of them might have picked up on it, but most of them did not. So that's an interesting scenario. And I said, what am I going to do? I said, I know what I'm going to do. I said, Jimmy, I call him Mr. Grippo. I'm going to attempt the impossible. So all these other people say, what was the name of your card? He says, I can't tell you. I said, no, tell me. I have made it vanish from the deck. So as soon as he said 9 of clubs, I spread the cards face up, and I said, look, it's not in my hands, so you don't do it. You search through. The 9 of clubs was gone. So he knew he was kind of busted, but, you know, he was cool. I said, with your right hand, reach into your coat pocket and pull it out. And so he reaches into his pocket, and he pulls it out, and he throws it on the table. And that was the end of the trick. So for everybody, it's like, what the hell did you do? But Jimmy and I knew that there was some more going on. And it wasn't until about a year later that I actually asked him. Because I said, what were you going to pull? I mean, I'm just this kid who's trying to show you something, and you're messing with me. And I don't think I believe him to this day. But he said, well, I felt sorry for you because I didn't think you could find it. And I said, Jimmy, I had it under control. So I was trying to help you out. And I said, yeah, okay, fine. It worked out okay, but... Yeah, that was a good meeting.
That's
Jimmy Grippo. He was great. Now he was an example of somebody who really knew how to milk the effects. I mean, the language of the eyes, he was just so good. Because he was a hypnotist as well, so he would really know how to sell. He was great.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no question about what he was doing.
We're winding down here. Do you have any other stories, though? I don't want to stop.
No.
You guys have...
No,
Butch
that's
has
it.
a question.
All right,
and
thank
his
you.
pants back on, which
And
is
good
nice.
night. Oh, thank you. You're very distracting. Very distracting.
This is not an advertisement for you, but
Wait, get the microphone. Hook him up.
recently you produced a series of small videos about the brainwave and the
Yes.
invisible deck.
Yeah.
Do you plan to do any more of those? Because those are really great.
I think they're great too.
You went into the past.
Yeah.
You went into very...
Nope. I didn't go into the past. That's one of my least favorite moves. I don't talk about the past.
Into the past.
Oh, the past. I thought you
history
said
of
the past. Oh, okay, sorry. I stand corrected because, I'm not
You
a...
went into the history of each
Yeah.
trick, and then you showed variations, and those are
Yeah.
really good.
I mean, I like them too. I did a lot of research on those because I really wanted to give so much value. That was the goal. My goal was to have a magician who says, oh, I've been doing this Svengali deck for 30 years. And then I spent, $10 or whatever, and I bought that DVD, and I learned stuff I didn't know. Really? That was my goal, because like the Svengali deck is a great example, or the stripper deck. I mean, how many ways can you get the spectator to reverse their own card? I mean, that's very valuable information. Animan has a few great methods for turning around the deck, but Vernon actually did this as an article. He wanted to find out, how do you get the spectator to reverse their own card? So if you're using a stripper deck or a Mexican Joe or something like that, it's a very good thing to know. So that was, what was the question, by the way? Am I going to do any more? I don't know. You know what's funny about that is that the one complaint that got is, are you ready for this? It was too inexpensive. It was only $10. Originally, the retail was $10. And so they decided, you know what? That's true. If somebody has a magic shop and they say, well, I can sell this $20 video that I buy for, say, $10 and I make $10 profit, or I could sell this $10 video that I buy for $5 and I can make $5 profit. I'm making twice as much money selling this thing that's not as good than I am by selling this that's a tremendous value. And I decided that, to me, that was foreign. I said, what? That's the problem with it? Is it they're too valuable, too much information? So they decided to raise the suggested retail price, but retain the wholesale price. So that way the dealer still makes more money, they make more profit. So that was good. But I don't know if we're going to do more of those. We have advanced stuff coming out as well, like the sponge balls. Have you watched any? Well, they're not even out yet. The essentials are out for like a few topics, but the next step up was after you do one essentials, just to learn some of the basic stuff. The next step is the master course. And like the sponge balls master course, there's 4 volumes. They're ready to come out anytime now.
Wow.
And a tremendous amount of information, and it's all good stuff. It's
I
not...
just like the way you narrowed down to one specific subject.
Yeah.
And you gave so much information on it.
Well, great. So you're not complaining about the fact there's too much value.
No, I was kind of hoping for a $5 video.
Well,
What's
yeah,
$5
volume. Oh, well, go to China. Yeah, no problem at all.
How much on these essential videos that you're doing? Are you doing some research, or is this all?
No, God, no. I do a lot of research. I mean, literally.
How much of it is new to you, and how much are you learning as you're
It's not
making
necessarily new to me. Some of it is, yeah, but not a lot of it. It's stuff that I've read in the past. Like Steve Spill. I remember he fooled me with the thumb tip vanish of a sponge ball. I forget what he called it, but it was great. Mm-hmm. But that was back in the early 80s. So I knew it, and I knew where it was. It was in My Hands Can Be Yours. And I said, well, someday if I'm ever going to do a thumb tip video or a video on sponge balls, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to do this. I remember the Ireland cups and ball routine. So I knew where the stuff was, but then I had to learn it. Because it's one thing to know it in theory and know where it is or know what volume of the Tarbell course to find it, but then to actually take the time and learn it, that took a lot of time. Because these are not things,
right.
That's something I wasn't overly happy about, is I would learn things that I wasn't planning on using. I don't mind spending time learning something that I'm going to use, but you can't do everything.
Right.
But, if you want to do it once for the camera and then afterwards you kind of forget about it. But I'd rather put all that information out there and let people choose what they like best, because it's not my decision what somebody else is going to pick for themselves. But if you give them 10 methods for the double lift, and then they get to search through all of them and try out the one that they like and focus on the one they like the best. So we did the same thing with props.
I like it. Any other
Does that
things
help?
out there?
Yeah, one more question.
Butch has one more question. Are we hearing his questions? I'll repeat it if we need to. I'll repeat it.
How many decks of playing cards do you own?
How many decks of
Oh, I have
playing
no
cards do you
idea.
own?
Thousands. But you know what? That's own or use or
Own.
because there's a difference. I mean, I collect cards, and I've done that for many, many years. When I used to do a lot of lectures all over the world, I'd say, well, as long as I'm in Italy, buy every deck of cards that they sell in the Italian stores, and the same with China and Japan and all over. But I collect cards because I like cards. But as far as using them, I use bicycle rider backs, red, or blue B-backs. And the B-backs are the best. I mean, that makes this, even false shuffles and fans. You know, you could do a pressure fan with a B deck, and even if it's not perfect, it looks great because the all-over pattern in the back design. It makes seconds look better and false shuffles and all that stuff. They're more deceptive with the B cards. But I would guess thousands of decks. But you know what I do? I get a deck, I open it up, I take out the jokers, and I play with it for a few minutes, and I put it back in the box. I say, yeah, that's kind of a nice deck. But when it comes time to do a show, it's like bicycle rider backs. I'm not a fan at all of the black-faced cards and the cards that just look weird. I think cards should look like cards, what people buy at the store. So white faces with red suits and black suits, you know. I don't want somebody to question the prop. You know, I don't want that to take away from the effect at all. So it should look like just normal stuff that people see in their own homes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other
Sure.
upcoming projects?
Oh, yeah. I'm working for Penguin, eh? Yeah, this is a project, and we're doing some more DVDs tomorrow and the next day, and I've got some stuff. We're
Yeah,
here
they're
to...
putting you to work while you're down.
Well, I prefer to call it sharing of knowledge with a brotherhood. You know how it is when you take out of the pool of knowledge? Well, then when it's time, you put back into it, and that's a good thing. So yeah, I'm going to be here for a few days doing some stuff, which I'm thrilled about.
Yeah.
Thrilled about.
Is it anything you want to?
Oh, you just stay tuned, my friends. Penguin Magic. That's penguinmagic.com for any of those of you who don't know. Yeah.
Can they get? I had somebody ask about the ropes. Can you get the ropes through Penguin? Did they get them from
Now,
you?
which ropes are those?
The
red and white one?
Yeah, the red and white
Yes,
ones.
absolutely. It's called the acrobatic knot. It used to be called the jumping knot of Pakistan, but no more. It hasn't been called that for many years.
Okay.
For good reason. That's a good question. And people, why don't you call it that anymore? Well, it was jumping knot of Pakistan. Every show, every word for word pattern was the same. Jumping knot of Pakistan. This was shortly after the 9/11 incident, and Pakistan and the United States were not on great terms. And I wasn't thinking. I was on autopilot in a way. No, not autopilot. All my attention was on the audience. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing or what I was saying. I was thinking about them. So I would just say, la, 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 the jumping knot of Pakistan. And I had the audience up here. And as soon as I said the jumping knot is a mystery of the jumping knot of Pakistan, I just lost them all.
Wow.
Dead. It's like, and that was my last trick. So it's like I didn't have a chance to get them back again. So I thought, what was that all about? What, It was on a Monday, like right after 9/11. So I didn't realize. And somebody said, oh, I guess you shouldn't have said Pakistan. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So
wow.
the next show, 3 minutes later or 5 minutes later, it's like a little something called the amazing acrobatic knot. Watch closely. Here we go, and everything was fine. So
That's good.
that's why I changed the name.
Wow. So okay, then we talked about your favorite gigs. Talk about that. Have you had any nightmare gigs? Or any that are...
Not in a long time, but yeah, I've had them. Oh yeah. Oh, Newport Beach again. Love Newport Beach, but it was a private show, and I thought, this will be great. And they said, oh yeah, we want you for 3 hours. And I said, oh, of course, you charge by the hour. I'll be happy to do 3 hours. What they didn't tell me was that it was on a yacht, and there were like 20 people. And
Wow.
3 hours
3
for 20
hours.
people on a yacht. It's like, oh man. You go through your material in the first hour.
Yeah.
And that's even stretching it.
Was it?
So I did a lot of storytelling, and I'd teach tricks. Oh, you like magic? Well, here, let me show you. And I'd teach them like a self-working card trick that you might want to teach your son this trick. Oh, here's a great trick.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we talked about blackjack, or we talked about other things. But boy, that was a tough one.
Yeah,
3 hours for 20 people. Now, if it's a huge, like Queen Mary or something, 3 hours is the same as working a ballroom. That's different.
Yeah.
But for a very limited number of people, and you go through your material.
Were they happy though? I mean, it may have been
Yes.
rough for you, but they had to be.
Yeah, they were happy.
Happy. Wow.
Never again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. Ask how many people are going to be there, just for fun.
How many you think? I've had, I sometimes wonder about that. If somebody calls and they ask me, how long do you think should go? I've always thought maybe 75 people per hour.
I have never thought of it that way. I don't know.
I heard somebody say that once. I'm not sure
That's
who
a
it
good
was,
thought.
but it's
75 people. You mean like strolling magic
yeah.
for
If you're
tables?
doing strolling magic, there's going to be 150 people there. 2 hours should be fine.
Yeah.
That's kind
Well,
of.
I would start it too, but I mean, I would not try to get more hours to get more money. I would rather take a little less money, but leave them with a really good, strong impression.
Yeah.
Because I remember we did this a lot in England. My wife was, I don't know if I mentioned, she was a magician full time before we even met. And we got to work some shows before we got married in England. So what you do is you look at the ballroom or you look at the banquet layout and you say, how many tables, how many magicians, how many people? And you just divide it up, and that's about this many minutes per table. And if it's 10 minutes per table, you say, well, I want to do 3 parts of the table. You know, I don't want to do all 10 minutes in one spot. I want to do, 3.5 minutes here, 3.5 minutes there, and the rest of the time over there. And then you go to the next table and you do it again. So it's really the whole night just runs like clockwork.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Is strolling your favorite thing to do right now?
No, my favorite thing is just to stand up.
You just
show.
mentioned that not too long ago.
Because
30
it's
minutes,
true. You
yeah.
just get in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say get in, get the dough,
Right.
get out, get the dough. Don't be a schmo. Go for the dough. Yucks are bucks. Well, I had some funny agent friends. But I would rather just go in cold and do it, and then they don't know what to expect. And then it's like they'd hit some, and at the end, it's like, thank you and good night. Go, wow, who was that? What was that all about? And of course, you leave a lot. I like to hand out a lot of things and leave a lot of cards. I want to do a show someday where everything is given to the spectators to keep. The card through the plastic bag, keep it. Oh, and if you look closely, you'll see there's my website address on the corner. And wouldn't that be nice? Everything you do, you give away everything that you use, and everything that you give away has got your,
As your
contact material.
That's good. Any tips on that? I mean, you just kind of just put your contact information on everything?
On everything. I mean,
Yeah.
well, first, I decide what tricks you're going to do. If I've never done the card to wallet, but if I was to do the card to wallet, I would get envelopes printed with my contact information on it, and you let them sign the card, and they get to keep the envelope and all that stuff like that.
Great.
Well, I always liked your third-dimensional hyper card.
Oh, that's a great example. I love that trick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody wants to know why you hate, all capital letters, the pass.
No, I don't hate the pass. You know what? I don't use it. Because here's the thing. I
don't know if Zombie Magic likes
oh,
the
geez,
pass.
it's smoking, man. Oh, what's going on? No, there's nothing wrong with the pass. The pass is a great move, and what it was invented for was to uncut the cut or to nullify the cut. So it's a gambling table thing. If you cut the deck, and then the guy who wants to cheat, he's got to uncut them. Well, a magician uses the pass because in the old days that was the only method that was probably available for getting a chosen card to the top. Well, those are old times. Now there's much better ways. It's to me it's not a good thing to say put your card back in the deck and close up the deck, and at the worst time you have to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better if you do it really well, which is tremendously difficult to do. You at least pause a little bit or have a time delay or something, do it on the offbeat. I don't use the pass as a control because I think there are other ways of doing a control that are much more deceptive and more efficient. You don't have to really change the order of 2 whole packets of cards in order to get the card to the top. You could just take the single card and get it to the top, like with a side steal or with the lapel automatic jog control is perfect. That's better than a pass. Because you could say, put your card in anywhere in the fan, push it in yourself, immediately put the deck on the table. You can't do that with the pass. You've got to hold a break, and maybe you can do a little step. I'm just thinking that the pass for using it as a card control, for me personally, is not the best. I mean, if you do a perfect pass, there are some advantages to that because it looks like you do nothing. Whereas if you're doing some kind of a control or double cuts or something, it looks like you're doing something, and doing nothing would be better than doing something. But
there we go.
That's a lot of work, though. That's a lot of work.
Should answer this question. Man, we got so much stuff going on here. We need to have you back just to
I'm
sit
sorry,
and
what was
talk.
that again?
Let's just sit and talk for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, what if?
Anybody else? Any other? Oh, we got one over here.
You had mentioned, obviously, having core material in certain routines that you like to focus on. In a strolling situation, how do you handle people following and or people with requests for repeat material? Do you have a special set held back for those instances, or do you repeat material pending on? Based on
That's a great question.
Let me repeat it just so folks at home can hear. We talked earlier about doing 6 tricks a night. What about the folks that follow you around? Do you have something in reserve to?
Yeah.
to
take a hike. No, you know what? I'll teach them a trick. Because, I mean, if they want to follow the magician around from group to group, I mean, I think chances are pretty good that they have an interest in magic and they want to learn something.
Yeah.
So I'll say, oh, I'm not going to confront them.
Right.
You know, they're not the enemy. I would just say, oh, do you like magic? I mean, you seem to be enjoying watching me do it for several people. And they say, oh, yeah, I love magic. Well, here, let's come over here. I'll show you. I'll teach you something. They love it.
Yeah, and then send them off to, you go practice that show.
Yeah.
Go see if you can get that real fast and come back in a couple hours.
Exactly. And then everybody's happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't just say, hey, stop bugging me, kid.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it could be the birthday boy, or
well, yeah,
it could be
kids are-
the daughter or the son of the, you know, the guest of honor or something. Who knows?
Man, you become the Pied Piper at a lot of the kids events. But I've even had it happen with, you know, grown-ups that will follow you, maybe not as intently as kids do.
They don't grab onto your coat.
Yeah, yeah. But it just drives me crazy when they, you know, do the trick where it comes out of your wallet at the end.
Oh, yeah. Do the trick where she ends up with 2 sponge balls in her hand. It's like, oh, man. Just tip the gaff.
Yeah. Eric, did you have a question?
If I remember accurately, in a lecture years ago, you said Pavel was one of your favorite magicians.
Oh.
And obviously,
Yeah.
you're still doing a Pavel trick. Was there any other collaboration?
Nope, that was the only one.
That's the only one?
That's the only trick you
I've
learned
just
from
always admired his thinking. His book I thought was great, The Novel Magic of Pavel. He's got several sets of lecture notes, but he's got one hardbound book. And there was a chapter in there on creativity and how, because I think he was one of the very most creative magicians in the world. Now, Gaten Bloom, I think, is the #1 guy, just really out there doing weird stuff. But for Pavel's day, and this was back in the 70s, he was doing stuff that nobody else did. I mean, everybody does torn restored tissue paper, you know, or torn restored napkin. He would have a piece of paper with a printed black horse and a printed white horse, and he'd tear them up together and restore it as a picture of a zebra. I mean, it's you know, just a nice little touch and nice ideas that he had. Yeah, his stuff was great. So anyway, his hardbound book's got a whole chapter on how to create magic and coming up with different methods, and he gives some examples of some of the tricks he's come up with and how he arrived at those particular solutions. And that was tremendously valuable. Another great favorite is Billy McComb. Talk about a working professional. Boy, he worked everything. And it was just great stuff. Very, very practical. Yep.
All right. Anything else? One more from Butch.
No, just, of course.
You obviously study a lot of magic. I mean, you have an encyclopedia in your head. Do you still study as much as you did when you were younger?
Not as much as I do. No, things are different now. I mean, when I was younger, boy, when I was a teenager, that's all there was. That was my life. But now I have a wife and I have a family and I have, you know, mortgage payments and, you know, other things that I have to do. So I don't spend as much time, you know, learning new magic and reading. I mean, I still collect the books and I still get a lot of the magazines, but I just don't make the time to read it as thoroughly as I used to. And actually physically practicing, you know, I miss that. So maybe someday when my kids are grown up, you know, and I'm an empty nester, and I say, oh, good, I could sit in my rocking chair. And I could sit and I practice. Maybe then I'll learn the pass. Maybe. No, too much work.
Wow. Anything else? You got anything else? I mean, because you talk as long as you want.
Oh, I'm happy. I feel good. It's hard work, though. Sorry about that coin trick, though. You know what? It's like, it's not, obviously, that's not why I close with that every show. It's like, I know it works, and I've done it before, and it works, and if you do it right, it works, but if you don't do it right, or if you know, there's all kinds of, you know, sorry I messed it up. That's embarrassing.
Oh, it's no big deal.
That's
No big deal.
embarrassing. But if I had to mess it up, I'd rather mess it up live in front of millions of people from all over the globe. Yeah, if I had to. So that feels good. That's nice. Oh, am I getting hot? Oh dear, it's getting hot in here.
You saw yourself on. Are you looking at yourself on the screen over there?
Yeah, I'm all red.
Yeah.
It's like I must be embarrassed.
It's lighting. It's the lighting. You just made that face in front of those millions of people that you were just talking about.
Oh, are we still on?
We're still going.
You know.
But I think we've covered. Man, we've covered everything. Oh no. Okay. No other questions? Have you guys had a great time with Daryl tonight?
And I too have had a great time with you guys.
Well,
thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We say this every week, but thank you guys for supporting Live Magic.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Good job. Ho,